Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así.
Thank you, God, for this day we have lived, everything in our life, our health, our family, the guidance you have given us, allow us guidance to the path of righteousness. Amen.
Really, I'ma get that bitch. Revenge is a dish best served cold. She took my son, now my soul is cold. He took my daddy, now my soul is old.
Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub?
King Chaka ENT. Y'all can check out the music on Spotify, Apple, and other services. Doing what we do 3 to 4 nights a week. King Chaka ENT.
I got this.
From the
She
back
starts
seat.
shooting.
That dude was like, ow.
What was that?
Outside the car,
That nigga
deputies'
got
body
popped.
cameras capturing the bullets flying through the air.
We got shots fired
couldn't
up
have been
here.
a straight
We
shot.
need
It had
backup
to be-
immediately. Start
Are you-
EMS. Start EMS.
What
We got
the
a
fuck?
civilian. We got a civilian hit.
The deputy.
Looks like we got us another hit.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, an educated public cannot be controlled. Learn to be active. The views and events expressed here are totally whack and are not necessarily the views of anyone. Science of the supernatural. Science of the supernatural. We're going to get into it, but let me just give my thoughts. Preliminary thoughts. I don't believe in the supernatural. And I really like the title Science of the Supernatural because I would think that that the supernatural is just science. That's it. Simply. And it can be broken down mathematically. I believe in God. I do. I believe in the universe. But any miracle that God does is going to be within certain parameters, right? Like once you really start studying stuff, you'll see these patterns pop up over and over and over again. There's certain rules to life, basically. There's rules to the universe. There's rules to how things can work and they can't work. So supernatural to me is just natural. It's just science. It's just maybe it's on the edge. Maybe you just don't really understand it yet, or we haven't discovered how it makes sense. But I believe everything's gonna make sense. Even God makes sense. It all makes sense. Now there are things out there that we won't ever, I don't think, be able to comprehend just because of our limited perspective or our limited senses or our position that we are in the world. It's not for us to understand everything anyways. What makes our life better? How we can thrive better. That's our focus. That's how our evolutionary tract has been. So all the knowledge that you gain should be able to be used in a way that'll help you in your life or help your genes, because that's what it's all about, like your continuing essence of you, and then continuing to improve with time. That's just what I think about that. So, but a lot of people get confused, I think. Then they start talking about magic or the supernatural or whatever. and we get lost in it. It's kind of like a child. You don't really understand it, so you explain it to the child in a way that's simple for them to, you know, take it in. Or sometimes you even lie to the child to make it like, I don't know, you're not ready to tell them yet or whatever. You feel like they wouldn't understand it. Or maybe it's just fun for you or something. I don't really get that at all. But, you know,
They don't get it.
how you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling good, man. How about yourself?
Man, you sound good. I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I worked late. I apologize, y'all. That's why I'm late. I freaking just got off work. It happens.
Oh yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so I have this magazine, it's Life, and the name of it is Science of the Supernatural.
Hmm.
So that's where I got the title from, and I kind of want to flip through it a bit. I don't know if I want to do that right now, but at some point.
It's all good.
Yep, Into the Mystic. It looks interesting. Let me read just a little bit and then we'll get into the show. It says, what does it mean that supernatural beliefs continue to influence our thinking in this empirical age? By Daniel S. Levy, or Levi. He says, we live in an age of science. Diseases that were once deemed a punishment for the gods are now known to be caused by bacteria and viruses. Events such as earthquakes and meteorites that shamans ascribe to spirits are now understood as natural phenomena. Yet, despite our knowledge, we are still wary a lot who believe that supernatural forces continue to exist beyond the laws of nature. Who hasn't had a friend who knocks on the wood for good luck, or another who refuses to step on a sidewalk joint? Many beliefs, such as otherworldly forces, need to be acknowledged, recognized, and embraced, as well as feared. One poll found that businesses lose more than 800 million on Friday the 13th because people don't want to fly or do business on that accursed day. And it's not just a Western phenomenon. Back in the 1930s, Toyota planned to name its firm Toyota with a D instead of the company was named Toyota because the number of brushstrokes to write the name was 8, a lucky number in Japan. It seems to have worked. Toyota is now the world's largest car manufacturer. That's interesting, right? I think that some of the, I make fun of people for superstitions, but some of the stuff that we do, it's not really a superstition. It falls in the realm of that, but I don't think it is that. And then you have the other part of that is whatever you believe anyways is what it's going to be. So if you believe that on Friday 13th is something's bad going to happen if you leave the house, then there's
That
a good chance.
I think, yeah, I think that has more power than. 'Cause I mean, well, because I mean, all of it is real, and that's the thing that I mean. Because for me, I might not believe so much in it, but for others, because they do believe, that's more so what they present in their lives. Like that's what they attract to their lives. But
But I still
you
think
know,
some of the superstitions we call them superstitions, but some of them I think are like traditions that have been passed down and they're kind of like in our DNA, and it was a part of our evolution. Like something that keeps us safe, it's always going to be related to that. Or something that's going to help you to, find food, stuff like that, or something that's going to keep you from getting sick. I think that's one of the main areas that it falls in, is some of the stuff that we do that we can't really explain or we don't know why is protecting us. You know what I mean? And it
what
from
what do you believe in? You know, diseases that's handed down by blood.
Well, I mean, you have genetic issues, so yeah. So, but I think that we get lost in a lot of that because I always use the example of diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is your diet. They can't say that was passed down, in your just
exactly.
because your parents had it. Well, your parents ate bad and you ate the same food as them, so both of y'all got that. That's what happened.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's kind of how I see with it, really with it all the way around now. Um, there's I've seen rare cases where a mother had breast cancer, daughter had breast cancer, granddaughter had breast cancer, and that's very, very, very rare. Now, I mean, was it genetics or was it they lived in the same like in the same area that like the radiation and other stuff that
Something
just
else,
happened to.
some pollution in the food, some damn
y-
shit they got emanating from these poles and shit. Like they might have been
y-
living next to a factory or something. Who the fuck knows?
y- Exactly. So I mean, I don't like as much as DNA carries, like I do, you are getting a great deal handed down every generation, and actually probably more and more as we get older, as we grow into, going into the future, because I mean, especially nowadays, we're just the information that we're learning is allowing more of that download, more of that junk DNA to be awakened in our children when they come. Well, they call it junk DNA. It's not real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think it's junk DNA. It's just
It's
unactivated
and I think
DNA.
that's still an example of what we're talking about because it's something that they don't understand yet, and that's what we're talking about. Because they talk about supernatural. The name of it is Science of the Supernatural. So it's like the supernatural is just what you haven't figured out yet, but you don't understand, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. They call it junk DNA, but they don't know what it's being used for. That's why they call it junk DNA.
Well, I mean, it was stuff that was turned off on us because, you know, I mean, you got to think about some of the stuff that, some of, if you really think about it, some of us, regardless of race, I mean, went through some form of slavery, and they were denied their full um, capabilities. Like they were limited on things they could do. So I mean, things that were in the generations two or three or however many before, maybe knew how to levitate. Maybe
All
they
kinds of
knew.
stuff. And being that it's still sitting there, I feel like if you could go through the process to activate it, you could use it.
Yeah, and even to telepathy or something. You know what I'm saying? Like all these different things that communication or just expressions, different ways of expression was limited through some act, something that happened over time,
I
and
think
it's there. I think it's still there, but we just haven't figured out how to actually activate it. And maybe there's energies within the universe that has to be active as well. Like I mean, there's things that is out in our atmosphere that we haven't seen for 25,000 years, and there are 20,000 years, 5,000 years that is coming back around that's more active. Why does this end up being more of an information age? Because it's not just now. I mean, you got to think the Aquarian age has passed many times before. You know what I'm saying? So the Aquarian age is something about it, and it within the atmosphere, the energies, the alignments that with different planets and stars
yeah.
is.
And when you say
I,
Aquarius, I think water, and I think how much we're made of water.
hmm
But
I mean,
earlier
it.
you
it
said, hold on, I
Go
want to
ahead.
say this before I forget. The telepathy thing, I think that we actually do that specific thing. I think we do have that, and we actually use it, but we're not really aware that we're using it. Like I really feel like all the minds on the earth are connected. Like seriously, like how the hell when someone's looking at you from behind, do you know someone's looking at you? You just turn around and look at them. Like there's no real explanation for that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I kind of felt like you know, because you sent a text message you just said you were still at work or whatever. I told you to call, but you know, I got, for whatever reason, I end up getting up like 5-10 minutes before you sent the message saying you was going live. So maybe there was something that I knew or felt. Okay, yeah, like it was almost time for the show or whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
exactly.
I believe stuff like that happens as well. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, so
it's
that's why I think the telepathy is actually a real thing. We just don't see it for what it is, or we don't recognize it for what it is. Just like what we're saying. Like I think that's the case with a lot of this stuff. We use this stuff and do this stuff, some of these things, and we're just not aware of it. It's kind of like, when you look at the other insects or animals or plants or whatever, like they do really cool stuff too. And they probably are in the same boat as far as not really aware of what they're doing. You know what I mean? As far
yeah,
as what they're using and how it works, it's magic to them too.
to the insects.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they're more advanced, or maybe that they, uh, they're, because I believe their connection to nature, it becomes where it's a natural, it's just a natural thing with them. Like
And they
I
naturally
don't
do
think
like
they're,
magic, or what somebody might think
w-
of as kind of
yeah. I mean,
supernatural.
well, we would, because see, I mean, we overthink things. I think
Yeah.
they just are. They, you know what I'm saying? Like in the insect worlds, the plant world, like these different things. Like, I mean, they're not sitting there. Oh yeah, me blooming this flower was magic. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I mean, it just is what it is, and we might look at it like, oh my God, I can't believe this thing happened, and it's just like, it's just a part of nature. That's just what happened. It just is what it is. But
Let me read a little bit more and we're going to get into it. And I'm going to come back to this later. It says, no matter how much we know, there is still much we don't understand, and that can be unsettling. And as mortals, we cannot apprehend what occurs when we pass from the corporal to the ethereal world. According to the Pew Research Center, 90% of Americans believe in some form of higher power, 73% believe in heaven, and 62 believe in a percent in hell. Yet, while the faithful hold religious certitude, none of us can fathom the mind of God or whatever powerful being or beings hold dominion over the universe. Because we do not know what is to come for us for millennia, we have developed lore and ideas to explain what we cannot know, to, to glean useful knowledge from those who have passed to the other side. Seances become the rage in the 19th and early 20th century America. It didn't matter that many of those leading the seances were proven hucksters. People still accepted that it was possible to communicate with the beyond, to reach loved ones who could send messages, advice, and warnings from the depths of death. 40% of Americans believe in ghosts, and 22% say they have contacted a psychic or a medium. So that's kind of a thing. Like they have the TV shows still where these people do this thing. So, and it's like you see it in the movies where they say every time they're like ripping the people off or whatever, like they don't really know anything. But what do you think about that? Like
um,
it's probably just because they want to believe and they're willing to pay the money to these people to kind of like, tell them what they want to hear, basically.
um, I think that's because I believe that there is like, I mean, I don't know how real, like real they really are. I mean, I haven't really tried to do any kind of psychic thing or whatever, but I think to some extent, for people who have, the ability, the strength to allow that type, to believe in those things, is that that's their way of being able to, like they'll hear somebody, like there's things somehow they you know, like for those who believe it, like we were just saying, like for those who don't believe it, no matter what they say, you're not gonna relate because you just don't, you're not there. For those who do kind of believe in it, they're gonna probably get a lot out of it, and whether it's BS or not, sometimes it's gonna lead them on a path that's gonna be of some form of growth for them. So it just really, you know what I'm saying, like,
It depends on your
that's,
perspective. So it kind of goes
yeah,
back to what we were saying. If they believe it, then it is going to have an impact on them,
yeah.
and they make it real by believing in it.
And a lot of times they'll act on it and make those things real, because I mean, that's a part of, like, even the Bible tells you is that faith without works you have nothing. So I mean, when you are, you know, like you go through the process, have somebody tell you, you know, this is your, you know, this is what to look out for, and hey, such and such is around the corner. So on this day and that day, if you're, you know, doing this, most likely it's going to come through. And just the fact that they're willing to go act it out and do, actually, they're making things happen in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result of whatever, you know, it might have been some BS, but people like that turn that into real shit.
Check this out. I got the GIF, the little photo I have playing in the background. Really cool. It says how the moon affects Earth's tides, and it just kind of shows kind of like a timeless lapse, like um, image of how the water moves around the ocean as the the moon goes around. And that is some interesting stuff. It makes me think about like evolution, kind of like the creation of life, like kind of like the perfect setup. Like it stirs it up so that it makes it, you know, more stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's it's really amazing that we live on this planet and it's basically a water world
So
with,
this is actually Earth, and the like. What, where did this image come from? Like, what
well,
you
I'm
know, is
sure they
this?
used math. This is not going to be an actual image of the
No,
earth.
yeah, I get it. I'm just, you know, because I mean, it actually looks cool as hell. Like, it'd be cool to have something like that in a glass jar that you can sit and watch. Um, you know, how you just
Yeah.
have something sitting on your desk, and but
Yes.
that's,
That's really cool, man, because the water kind of just follows the earth around, I mean the moon around, because the gravity of the moon is sucking on it, you know? So even the depth of the water, like the height of it changes as the moon goes around.
yeah, the tides, yeah.
Yeah. So that's just really cool. This let me read a couple. The caption says how our moon affects Earth's tide. There's a comment. It says, and the human body is approximately 60% water. Tell me the moon doesn't affect humans. Yeah, definitely does.
Well, I guess the possibility you might be dehydrated and
That
is,
might
you know,
lower it a very small fraction, but for you to be alive, you still gonna have a whole bunch of water in your body. Shit, even when you die.
I
Um,
guess.
Freaking President Trump.
Your favorite president.
Announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
He's
To make
pissed.
America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
He gonna be running for president for 2 years. Damn, that's a long ass
Man.
time.
But
Let
I
me
mean,
read.
honestly, he's been running for president ever since he lost.
Yeah, with the rallies. Uh-huh. It keeps him. I think that part of what he's doing is pretty damn genius, though. I ain't gonna lie. That's what I gotta say about that. Let me read this. It says former President Donald Trump has officially announced he is running for president in 2024, making his third bid for the White House. Third bid? Oh,
Yeah,
because
because
he lost the last time.
he
Okay.
lost the second one.
All right, let me read this. It says, saying we are a nation in decline and America's comeback starts right now. Trump made the announcement Tuesday night in an address from his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida. Trump, who was twice impeached during his 4 years in office, but has not convicted either time, maintains tight grasp on the Republican base. 6 in 10 Republicans back the former president as the party's leader, according to ABC News Washington Post poll from earlier this year.
Man, I'm starting to feel like this is just like a vicious uh game against the people. Like, I mean, it's such a roller coaster, like a back and forth, up and down. Just it's just a bunch of stuff to pull on everybody's heartstrings and getting people riled up and upset and happy and like it's just all like you know
Energy
all the
vampires
yeah it's just like
sucking on us.
yeah. Because I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you remember. It's been a while since we had that conversation, but after he lost and all the stuff that was coming out, it's like it really doesn't like that. The Republicans let him like if they really allow him to be, the candidate, the Republican candidate, like after everything. Nah, I mean, I just don't see it being a smart idea. Now he can run, but if the Republicans actually get behind it and support it, that's where it's gonna be.
Well,
Like,
I think he will have a harder, more difficult time this time getting the nomination because there a lot of people are feeling Ron DeSantis. He probably gonna be the main competitor. There'll be some more people on the stage, but he'll have to beat Ron DeSantis.
well, and I've heard some things. I think that Trump would probably, and maybe DeSantis would run, would play play that out with him, because if Ron DeSantis runs with him, that allows Ron DeSantis to be in office for 12 years, potentially, because he could go in 1 year with Trump as a vice
VP.
president.
But still, somebody has to win the nomination. So regardless, they'll fight it out for the nomination because one person got to be the president, the other one is the vice president. It depends on because the way the party is set up, they you have to get nominated. So in that process, the reason why they go through that process is to make sure that they're gonna get elected when they go against the Democrats or whatever. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
but I'm
saying?
just saying, that's what I'm trying to tell you is that they would make a deal beforehand because I think DeSantis likes Trump. And I think that to give Trump another chance to be able to come in and do his thing, because he does have a lot of already like diplomatic, like he's done some international diplomacy. So, um,
I could see Trump making that deal and then screwing over Ron DeSantis at the end of the day.
why would you say that?
I'm just saying, I could see that scenario playing out where it'd be like,
Well, you know what? Somebody, I didn't see it or hear it myself, but somebody said that he was already putting like trying to talk down on DeSantis. So if he's done that, then I would say that he's screwed. Cause I mean,
yeah, he's doing that, but he's gonna do that because they're gonna be competing for that nomination. Yeah, he's already got a nickname for him that the sanctimonious. It done already stuck. Everybody's saying it.
no, man. See, and that's one of the problems with our politics, man. Like, it's I understand wanting to win and you're doing what you need to do to win, but like I've never won by hating on somebody else. Like I lose more if I like that's like it just like it's just not beneficial to be a hater. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just really not. And for some people that works out for, I really wonder what's in your You know what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna lie, Trump is kind of good at it, man. He gives people nicknames and it sticks to them. It's pretty funny too. That's
I ain't gonna
why it
lie.
works.
I still think about the Rocket Man shit, and he goes over there, and then now they're friends.
Yeah, so it don't
Like
really
it was
matter. Even it's all political theater at the end of the day. Him making fun of Ron DeSantis and making everybody laugh. It's just part of the game of him trying to win the nomination, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they not cool. You know, they might
yeah, nah,
have dinner after. You know,
yeah. Because like I
and
said, I
chop it
mean
up.
the barbershop conversations have began already, if you want to call it that. I say barbershop conversations, but you know, some of his base has already been saying that, you know, they could really see where this could be beneficial for the people if they make a deal, you know, where, you know, DeSantis is VP with Trump, and then after that, after this year, after that term, then DeSantis can end up being in office as a,
Yeah,
you know,
but the other way around works too. With Ron DeSantis
no, no,
winning
never
and
happened, never
Trump
happened,
Trump
never
is
happened.
part. I
No,
totally don't think it's gonna be easy for Trump to get this nomination. I'm telling you.
no, I know, but I'm just saying, like, but his ego is too fucking big that if he don't get it, he's just gonna say fuck everybody.
Oh, I get that's what you mean. Okay, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, if politically it would make sense for him to take the VP. Fuck it, take the VP
Because
and
if it's about the people, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it is really about the people, but like I said, I mean, because it gives a longer term for the Republicans to be in office, because
cause
honestly,
he could still
there's
run again after that.
yeah. But look, I'm gonna tell you, bro. Honestly, I think like well, it's usually more fair. Like seems like it's more fair for the people if we have a Democratic president and or you know it has to have the right balance because it's you know a Republican president and you know maybe a majority Democrat um
Congress.
Congress or vice versa. You know, a Democrat president and a majority Republican Congress. And it's like I think we have more balance when it's like that. But when you see how things like I mean we just had a good example of a lot of stuff that's actually happened recently um with like they didn't really like the Democrats really did not know what to do with all that power.
And
You
they
know what I'm
and
saying?
they, and they barely got anything done.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
But that's
that's
what I say about the Democrats, man. They get paid to lose. They're not in there to make no differences or changes. It's all to up. I couldn't do it. Oh, we tried to do student loan debt, but
well, no,
up. The
but see,
president up. We
but
can't do
that
it.
no, see, yeah, see, the part about that is that that was the intention in the beginning. Like
That's
that
what I'm
not
saying. For all of it, let's talk about healthcare. Freaking Obamacare. We tried to do it, but you know the Republicans they gutted it. You know.
yeah. I mean, because it's easy to blame it on other people, but like you got the majority. Like when y'all started this, y'all talked like they talked about how good it was gonna be because they had the majority. Like in every house, the you know in the reps, the House of Representatives, in the Senate, like
And that's why I say it don't matter if it's Republicans or Democrats. The people getting fucked, and that's been the historical freaking thing that's been happening. They don't want us to have shit.
well, then that's a tough pill to swallow, but and I can see that. Like I mean, I do. I prefer to have some form of hope. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna go there.
My
I'm not
hope
gonna
is
ride
not
that boat with you.
in the politicians though. They or the Democrats or the Republicans, neither side. I don't have no hope in them. There's too much money in the politics. Like you've got to change the whole thing. So look, it says world population hits officially hits 8 billion people. Did you see this? It
So
says
they've been lying. So they've been lying to us for the last 10 years.
no, they didn't. It was 7 billion people. Before that was 6 billion people. It's just been exploding. It says there are officially 8 billion plus people here on Earth. The Earth has grown 1 billion people since 2010 and is expected to grow to more than 10 billion in the next 60 years. The UN warns that this rapid increase in population, there will be many changes with feeding, housing, people, and pollution. On a brighter note, the average life expectancy is expected to increase from 73 to 77 years old by 2050. That's not much of a difference. I'll
Um,
take it. I'll take it though. I'll take it.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess, I mean, that we're always losing people to something. So, I mean,
Yeah, but more people are
and
born than the people that's dying. So that's what's happening. Like, and a lot, it's not even in the different countries either. Like a lot of the young people are in Africa, India.
so who's having the most children?
That's what I'm telling you.
Because
The
because I just saw that. Well, I know they're saying here Americans, like, they're trying to replenish, like replace us with migrants because we not having enough babies.
well,
That's what McCon.
if you look across the world, you'll see that the more like, let's say, stable a country is or more developed it becomes, the more the population tends to level off. It tends to stop growing and pretty much becoming stagnant. Like, and then there's population, there's countries in the world that these populations are even decreasing. Like in Japan, it ain't nothing but old people. And you got other places where here in the United States we aren't really growing. You
I
know,
know that's what I was just saying, because that's what
yeah. So it's
McConnell was
not
just
about
saying.
it's not necessarily about, it's how it's related to how many people die versus how many people are born type shit, you know. And mostly it's always these growing countries, that are the ones. What I mean by growing countries is like, they're developing, they're becoming more, they have more access to clean water, more access to clean
Well,
food, more access to safe housing, and then therefore they don't die, and that's what
well, I mean,
happens.
well, and I think that because of the knowledge that we have, and like us not wanting to like have children that's suffering, we like, especially like our country has so many ups and downs to where people just really like, I like in the last 10 years, like I don't know how many people I've met that's just like they don't want any children. And why, like, is it part of what's they're reading in the Bible? Because like it's almost in the Bible. There's a part where they're saying, okay, they say one part, uh, be fruitful and multiply, but then at the same time, there's like these, like, you're out, saying these people are still out here having children and this, that, and the other. So it's like confusing, and I can understand that to some extent. But
So we're talking
people
about
used to have.
we're talking about the overall population of the earth.
I know I'm getting to that, but I'm saying it's
Okay,
not. I mean, but we're part of that, right?
right.
Okay, yeah. I was just, but no, I'm just saying, if you really think about, like, cause my parents, my grandparents, when they were growing, like, it was 10, 12, 13 kids per family, like each household.
Yeah,
Now it's 1 to
but
4 at the
but they
most.
have a
Four
they have a
four is
graph.
4 is considered like, ooh, you doing it over there.
Yeah,
You
they
know what I'm
have a
saying?
graph that explains that. It's like the more that the society becomes like technological and has all. I can't think straight tonight. I guess I'm tired, but it's like
You
the more developed the country is,
developments, yeah,
the
the less
birth
children.
rates go down. So that the history of the United States with the Industrial Revolution and all of that shit. This is what brought us to the point where, you know, because before, if you think about it, not even that long ago, especially we were rural, right? So most people were living on farms. You wanted more kids. You needed more help around the damn farm.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I get that.
So that's what it is. So you don't have a farm no more.
Well, then I mean, because I
You
mean,
don't
I
need
guess
all them kids.
if you're living in a metropolis and like you're dropping your kids off at daycare at you know, at 6 weeks old, and you know you don't see, you know what I'm saying, you're somebody else is actually raising your children, you know, you just kind of feel like yeah, I probably shouldn't do that again. You know what I'm saying? Like
and it costs a lot. Super expensive.
And everything is so, that's the part. Like it is like super expensive. Like, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I still want more kids, but I'm getting up there in age. I don't know. Like, I mean, I still wouldn't mind, you know, having one more maybe, but still no. Like, it's just maybe two more. You know what I'm saying? But either way, you know, because I mean, actually, I'd rather see some twins, but
yeah,
I don't know if it's gonna make a big difference on that 8 million number. But I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm still kind of messed up with that whole 8, just because I thought it was going on 9 billion because of the way that they're saying that our population is too big.
Well, it's exploding. It's growing. It's probably, as far as they know, it's more people on the earth than there's ever been. Let me play this. Let me play this right here. Oh, damn.
Seeing skyrocketing crime as a direct result of the abolition of cash bail in many of these places and sweeping cuts to policing budgets as a direct result of the defund the police movement.
It says police were not defunded and bail reform is not associated with the increase.
They thought that they had perhaps found it in Georgia, but then it backfired when the MLB pulled its game from there and put it in Colorado. And then we found out that the restrictions on early voting, for just an example there, are tougher than they are in Georgia. And look at
Georgia's voting laws are far more restrictive than Colorado's. Colorado has universal vote by mail. They fucking. I need to calm down. The music is bothering me. I didn't get to check that clip before.
Yeah.
I was doing this quickly because I was at work. This is kind of what you said. Damn it! I gotta go back.
What?
It says Americans are scared of, like, they're not having as much sex because they're afraid.
I ain't gonna say all that. We do some
scared to get laid now. Why? The fear of unintended, unwanted, or dangerous pregnancy after the fall of Roe. A new survey by Match finds that Americans are more freaked out about having sex or eliminating it completely. It's difficult now for people to not only want to head to the bedroom, but to even have a good time once they're there. Survey found that nearly 80% of singles of reproductive age say the overturning of Roe has changed their sex lives. 20% said they're hesitant to have sex at all. And among Gen Z, that number is as high as 27%. 13% of survey respondents said they're hesitant to date at all. And given that there are more than 75 million single people, according to Match, Roe could have changed the dating habits of almost 10 million people. Doctors and patients also reported a rising interest in more permanent forms of birth control. A doctor in Wisconsin told Vice News that in the last 7 years, she had tied the tubes of just one patient who wanted the procedure. In the 2 months after the Roe decision, the doctor performed tubal ligations on 4 patients who just simply didn't want to have kids. Therapists are also seeing how the fall of Roe is killing pleasure. Almost every sex therapist told Vice News that their clients felt that the decision ripped away control of their bodies, can lead to problems getting aroused. Eroticism is less reachable when there's a sense of fear, Madeline Esposito Smith, a therapist out of Wisconsin, told Vice News. For many, she says, sex now means having harrowing thoughts of becoming pregnant with a less than ideal partner, or even in some cases, death.
What do you think?
Wow. I didn't know people were really afraid of sex, but I mean, this just goes into that. I mean, Americans are not really as crazy as they think. I mean, I think that they have used that whole Roe, as a crutch, that they can use if somebody, if they get pregnant. Oh yeah, I'll just get it sucked out, no big deal. You know what I'm saying? But with the idea, just based on one of the comment that she's saying, it's like, they're afraid, like totally, like they're afraid to have sex just because they might get pregnant and then they might not be able to get rid of it. It's just like, wow, but at least they're being smart about it. I mean, that was one of my things. I guess you say that you just have to be more responsible about what you're doing, but it is what it is.
Damn it, I can't think of his name. I'm trying to think of this dude's name that's talking on the screen.
He replaced Stephen A. But
why can't I think of his name? Anyways, he said some comments at first about Kyrie, and then he kind of came back. I don't know if you've seen this clip, but this one is going viral because he was like, here, let me play.
Behind Kyrie and Kanye. Let me tell you why some of the black people are rallying behind Kyrie and Kanye. It says that because when blacks have a misstep, it seems like we suffer the harshest penalties. It seems like other groups offend blacks and they never suffer the penalty that Kyrie and Kanye have suffered. It seems like to us, a lot of us, not all, some of us, a large portion of us, is that black are bound by shackles. We're held more accountable for our actions and our words, where our counterparts are with cobwebs. They're easily brushed aside. Shannon, he apologized. Why can't we get the same benefit of the doubt?
Yeah,
why
Shannon
can't
Sharp.
we get the same benefit of the doubt, which is funny?
I mean, misstep. It's
what you think?
When blacks, let me tell you why some of the black.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I used to really have a lot of respect for Shannon Sharp, but I see like, his boss is telling him exactly what to say. I mean, all his passion is based on his check. Cause I mean, he didn't, he had a whole lot of smoke last week or 2 weeks ago with some of the shit he was saying. And now because of what everybody else is saying is now for him to straighten up and try to,
well, this is still dangerous for him to say, right? He could be risking his job with this right here.
No, he's not. Like, he's getting paid to say it. Cause see, the whole thing is the his boss is allowing him to come back and say this, so it kind of is like, okay, all right, we're being tough on him. We're gonna, like, cause they're gonna lose more. They're gonna lose money. Like, he got a $40 million contract, $40 million a year. So like every game, like whether he plays or not, they owe him a half a stack, $500,000.
Yeah, so I think they already messed up. I think they've already messed up
with it all the way around. See, but that's the whole thing. Cause see, look, if we can go back and some like Trump said so many things about the Jews. Other people talk about the Jews that's not black. Because I mean, if you black, if you mention anything and you just kind of leave because the biggest problem is that they've usurped the whole Jew thing. They don't want to share the Jew thing with anybody else because like, I don't know what specific group of black people are You know, like I haven't taken on the fact that, you know, like I'm a Jew or I'm a Hebrew, I'm a this or that, because there were other, because I mean, there were other people around that was not it. And I'm like, but however, black people were Jews first and probably are still a part
History
of
of
that
America
bloodline.
is
So like my problem is that, you know, if they, you know, because they have stolen our identities all around the world, whether it's you know, the Arabs, the, you know, the Jews, uh, the just, I mean, the fact of being, you know, the whiteness, like, I mean, believe it or not, like all of that stuff has been stolen from us. And a lot of people don't understand. People really think that whiteness has something to do with your skin color. It doesn't. But you know, you just got to learn. You got to read and understand more. But however, they've stolen our identities in so many different places around the world, to where, like, if a black person says something about a Jew and like them potentially being one, now they try to use, like, they immediately do that anti-Semitism stuff against somebody who's a Semite. It's, you know, they got everybody's mind taken, and they believe one way. So, and the people that they paying can get on TV. They never, like, we never know who's really upset, but they got all of their minions out here saying this, that, and the third. And like now they got them out there apologizing for them and really in a, you know, just kind of be like, all right, you know, if some of these people that was talking shit before, because Stephen A. Smith is doing the same shit, Shannon Sharp is doing the same thing, like all of them coming back around and kind of like, oh, y'all being too tough on him, y'all asking him to do, no, the dude said he ain't doing it. That's why y'all try, you know what I'm saying? If he would have kissed the ass like y'all do and came on back, you know, if he would have hurried up and kissed y'all everybody's butt and kneeling and kissing the ring and all that kind of shit, like, it'd have been like, yeah, you know, nigga, get your, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the real problem is Kyrie like, wait a minute, look, man, look, I'm a man still. I'm, you know, I'm not about to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't built for that. You know what
I
I'm saying?
love
Look,
that. I love that right there. And so he
you know,
gonna always be able to say he saved face. You know what I'm saying? He gonna always be able to say that. And yeah, man.
yeah. But his shit, he ain't gonna have the whole thing. Like, he gonna have trouble coming back, because I mean, every time he sees some of those faces, it's gonna be like, you fake motherfucker. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
when you
Like,
play. I used to play basketball a lot, and
me too.
sometimes it can get pretty physical. You know, it'd be a lot of physical things going on. So, like, I think that's what it would be, and that's why sometimes those fights break out. Is because, like, I remember that shit you were saying, but maybe I didn't say nothing to you. But when we out there on the court, I'm gonna be real physical with you, and I'm gonna be
Yeah,
thinking about that, what you said or whatever. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. But I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, these people that's talking out, like, I mean, a lot of us can see it, that it's just a bunch of BS. They daddies done told them, all right, look, we're gonna pull it back on Kyrie, because it didn't work. The plan didn't work, and we need to get him back to work as soon as possible,
I heard he
because
could be playing as soon as Sunday.
yeah, he gonna be back.
That's what I was reading earlier
Without,
today.
yeah, hadn't read it, but I could already sense it based on how everything was going. Like, I mean, like I said, they got
Because that, what
they
was it?
got
The NBA commissioner or whatever, he came out and said that he had a meeting with Kyrie, and he was like, I don't think he's anti-Semitic at all.
well, yeah, no, I think the owner of the Nets
That's who
did
it
that.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
it was.
and that was his whole purpose, was because he's like, you know, he the one got to still pay him. So he like, all right, look, you know, they tried. Look. We tried to play you. You know what I'm saying? Like in a sense, like they ain't saying it straight face, like whatever, straight to the camera. That how they try to play him, but at the same time, they know they try to play him and try to go overboard, and he just end up not. He's just like, look, y'all, look,
They made
y'all,
it thing. We would have never. Nobody would have ever heard about it. It would have just been like they asked him the questions in the freaking, nobody would have even heard about it. They would have just kept on playing basketball, and people would have kept on watching.
But that's the hate that how was that song from Paris, the something that hate made or whatever. See all the stuff that they've been doing, and that's slowly catching up to them. The truth is being revealed, and because of them trying to harass Kyrie. Like a lot of the cat came out of the bag. Like I mean, everybody like just them bringing the attention to his post. Now they're like, okay, so what was it? What did he post? What you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now they going when found it. Now like the sales of the documentary, the sales of his books, everything has skyrocketed. Just like, whew, like. Within the last couple of weeks, he probably done sold, ain't no telling how many millions he done sold. So, because of them trying to handle Kyrie this way, is what is, allowing people to learn more about what really is going on. So,
let me play this.
Above a slave. Or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they could do the math. They added it up, and they were like, damn, we got to figure out a way to split these folks apart from one another, or they're going to rise up and take our stuff. History of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. It starts in the colonies. So remember, during the colonial period, mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? English hated the Irish, right? Northern Italians didn't even think that Southern Italians were Italians. The Germans hated everybody, and everybody hated their ass right back. There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Colonial elite looked around and they realized something, that they were heavily outnumbered by African enslaved folks, by European indentured servants who were just one level above a slave, or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they could do the math. They added it up, and they were like, damn, we got to figure out a way to split these folks apart from one another, or they're going to rise up and take our stuff. History of America.
What do you think about that?
Well, I guess that's kind of leads right into what I was saying earlier about the whole white thing. I mean, white existed. It's just that they didn't call people white because of their skin color. You know what I'm saying? It was a caste system, just like in many countries around the world, it's a caste system that, really is based on the cloth, and, based on what, if you was at a high priest or the high ranking officials, you were white, and it didn't matter how dark or how light your skin was. I mean, even in Europe, because I mean, this is a worldwide thing. This was something that's happened in Egypt, and like all around the world. This is an ancient principle to be able to separate people by class. So, but like in Rome, I guess it was in the 1500s. That's when they decided that they were gonna try to make black people a permanent underclass, and then they were pretty much. That's when they started making the white Jesus. That's when they start doing all these different things to try to rob black people of their, of their lineage or their, history. So I mean, that's pretty much it. But he's pretty much right. I mean, we were nationalists pretty much worldwide. I mean, We was whatever country we were from, dark skin, light skin, in the middle. It didn't matter. If you were from France, you were French. If you were from England, you were English. If you were from Ireland, you were Irish. That's just all it was. You're from America, you were American. That's how we were, represented each other, ourselves. So
Let's talk about the FTX cryptocurrency deal. What do you think about that?
man, it's all to like say, bro. It's a scam. Like they've been working. I know they've been trying to work on this for the longest, but like this is a way to keep the people from having a decentralized form of currency. Like if we have a decentralized form of currency, they can't charge us on taxes. If they don't have control over it, and if it's not something that they're distributing, if this is something that we can create on our own and trade within with each other, like we control the world, and that's the last thing that they're gonna allow to just happen. They want to have control. They want the global community to have the few to tell us all what we can do and what we can't do. But if we, can, trade amongst each other with our own, a currency that we have chosen to use with each other, and they have no power over it, like they lose. So yeah, they did whatever they could, and I still want to understand how, because that's like the blockchain is supposed to be unbeatable. Like they can, like that's the thing. Like there's so many traces, so many ways to trace it back. Like they can know who it is. It's just a matter if they're gonna be honest enough, because they most likely took part in it.
Well, I feel like it was a scam from the jump. And taxes aren't necessarily a bad thing, right? Don't we
I
need
don't
taxes?
no. I don't think taxes are really a bad thing. But I think that if you're, because taxes is not, and I don't think that, because look like this, Texas doesn't have income taxes. Just because you got paid, they shouldn't have to necessarily get paid to be prosperous, because there's other ways that they're gonna tax. There's what I'm saying. So just when you first get your money, they're gonna tax you. When you go spend your money, they're gonna tax you. When like what I'm saying, like they're robbing us to some extent. So like
I think
there
the
has to
focus
be.
I think the focus needs to be on what the money is spent on. You know what I'm saying? Because the
Yeah.
taxes needs to be paid in a lot of cases, and I do feel like we're overtaxed and getting ripped off. Now, don't get me wrong, we're getting ran up in, but I'm saying, I don't want to give the impression that I feel like taxes are necessarily bad.
No.
And if
Well,
we
no,
just
I
if
mean,
everybody dodged the taxes with like Bitcoin or something, then how the hell is the society's gonna run? How is the function? How's it gonna function?
I think that I think it would still function just very well, because like it puts more power back in the people's hands, because we're the ones who do it in the first place. And you see how many billions of dollars get mismanaged through the government?
Yeah, but
I
who's
mean,
gonna build the people? We're gonna work together and build freeways and streets and shit
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
I don't
I
think
mean,
that's
we
realistic.
still well, I mean, okay, I mean that's fine. I mean, that's the thing. Like there were roads before the governments took over, and was like the like it might not have been interstates before that, but like we're at a point in life where, I think that we need to be able to get some of our power back. We've given away too much power to them to where they can, control every dollar that comes in, and they can rob us. They can do whatever they want. They can say that, oh, they're trying to do this and they're trying to do that. But if we saying, hey, this is what we're doing, all right, this is a fund, it's gonna cost how much? All right, we got X amount that pays, we pay into, or let's just say we just do it on our local government. We take care of where we are at home, because
But the problem is with using the crypto for this, vision that you're having, is that I'm seeing it that it's a rip. So I'm like, I'm not saying that all crypto is a rip, because I don't know that. But this FTX is clearly came out to be, it was a scam from Jump Street.
Yeah, and it was set up from the highest level.
Super big Ponzi scheme is what it was.
Yes, but see, that's the whole thing. I mean, the very person who is trying to, who not trying, who has IRS agents packing guns, it's very serious to him that they're able to control what's happening with people every cent they make, and they're not trying to get the richest people. No, they know they collect more money from the average everyday person.
It's the multi-level marketing. It's the pyramid scheme. It's the, it's fucking.
Well, I mean, that's really. I mean, look, if having a regular job is more of a pyramid scheme than those ones that you opt in for, that is a pyramid scheme. But I mean, the pyramid goes president, vice president, the Senate.
Yeah, but in the multi-level marketing with the pyramid schemes, you make your money from you're buying your stuff from the person that's above you, and you're selling it to the people that's below you, and that's how you make your money. So that's not the same as in a company that you work for. And I get the idea of the pyramid where the damn CEO and CFO up here making all the damn money, and the people at the bottom really doing all the damn work. So it's like a reverse.
Well, I mean, we can go into that, because I mean, they don't have to have, because see, they've made it to where they don't have to buy it from you. They've controlled the whole process of the buying from every level. They just got you working the middle without having really any investment where you can make a portion of it where you are.
They do sell that to you, because a lot of
salary.
A lot of companies they got the stocks, and they give you the stock option where you get 50% off or whatever the hell. And every damn meeting you go to, they're trying
if you do well, if you produce the right numbers in your department, you get a bonus, and then we're gonna you'll be able to get
put that into your stock option. Yeah. So
it's still being
the same.
Done.
Yeah, that's very similar as far as that part with the stocks, because when they get their employees, and especially if they're a big company, they get all their employees to buy the stock. That's gonna push the stock price up. That's real simple.
Yeah.
Let me play. Did you watch any of this? The really graceful take on the FTX?
I saw this one. I saw some other one earlier too, but I watched this because I knew this is the one that you was gonna play. But I was like, and I think, I don't know if this one says it, but I know one of them tells you how this dude really got into the,
It's like they're all related or friends and stuff. Like they're all having sex or whatever, like related in some kind of way. Because that's basically how she explained it. Let me play.
Today, I'm giving you a roadmap of the tangled web of connections from Silicon Valley to Washington, D.C., then all the way back to Sam Bankman-Fried's now for sale penthouse in the Bahamas. Then, at the end of the video, hopefully we can answer this very important question. Should investigations into criminal activity be executed by the very parties implicated in the crime itself? I told you in the last video that the FTX scandal boils down to this. A crypto exchange took customers' money and invested it into unknown assets. An incredibly damning write-up about the company was published. Then FTX's competitor, the CEO of Binance, decided to liquidate hundreds of millions of dollars worth of FTX's utility token, which signaled to other crypto investors to do the same. But when FTX's customers went to pull their money out of the exchange, there was no money. The fella at the center of it all is 30-year-old MIT graduate, Silicon Valley-born Sam Bankman-Fried, who was pretty much a nobody up until the time that Joe Biden announced his presidential campaign.
His
Just 2
name.
weeks later, the FTX exchange was launched, and it was an overnight success, making Sam a very rich guy. Sam's father, Joseph, a tax law professor at Stanford, helped Sam raise money from investors to get FTX off the ground. Some of the investors include BlackRock, Sequoia, SoftBank, and Tiger Global. After FTX
No
became an
shit.
overnight success, Sam became the second biggest donor to Biden's 2020 campaign.
Pause. he became the second biggest donor to Biden's campaign.
Yeah, just out of the blue.
Before-
Like he
Just random ass person just got rich yesterday.
But listen to his name. Like his name, just what Beckman, Sam Beckman-Fried. Like I don't know, like how many people are like got hyphens in their name? The dudes got hyphens in their name.
Yeah, I don't know where he's from. I ain't gonna lie. It screams immigrant to me at the very least.
Helping Sam with the financials, his dad was working on a new IRS tax filing system. Apparently, Pops is pretty well connected because back in 2016, Joseph drafted tax legislation for the outspokenly anti-cryptocurrency Senator Elizabeth Warren. And curiously, in response to the FTX collapse within the last few days, Warren has called for regulation of the industry. Sam's mom, Barbara Fried, is also a Stanford professor, and she's co-founder of Mind the Gap, a Democratic political fundraising organization based in Silicon Valley led by Stanford employees. Sam's brother Gabe is founder of Guarding Against Pandemics, which advocates for public investments to prevent the next pandemic. Gabe was a legislative correspondent for the U.S. House of Representatives and an advisor to large political donors in the Democrat Party. In addition to lobbying and advising lawmakers on pandemics, Gabe's Guarding Against Pandemics group endorses candidates on both sides of the aisle who pledge to champion pandemic prevention. My concern here is when they are spending on both sides of the aisle is that they are specifically cherry picking politicians regardless of party lines that, in this case, will do the most medical tyranny in the event of the next scamdemic. Not only was FTX a partner of the World Economic Forum, even though they've tried to scrub the evidence from their website in the aftermath, but Sam's Aunt Linda Fried is a member of the World Economic Forum. Her day job is an epidemiologist and dean at Columbia, specializing in aging, and her husband is an expert in HIV/AIDS. Epidemiology, I should define, it's the branch of medicine which deals with the incidence, distribution, and possible control of diseases and other factors relating to health. So between Aunt Linda and Brother Gabe with the virus shenanigans, it's giving me pause. It's giving me Vietnam-style PTSD flashbacks of Event 201 and ill-fitting purple sweaters in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So over at MIT, there's a fella by the name of Glenn Ellison. He's the department head of economics and former boss of the Biden-appointed SEC head, Gary Gensler. Glenn is also father to Sam's girlfriend, Caroline Ellison, or the CEO of Alameda. FTX's head of ventures and commercial is Amy Wu, who used to work for the Clinton Foundation. FTX's policy and regulation head, Mark Wetjen, served as Obama's commodity futures trading commissioner. And it doesn't stop there. The general counsel of FTX, Ren Miller, had served as lead counsel to Gary Gensler at the Commodities Future Trading Commission. FTX's director of engineering, Nishad Singh, recently donated $1.1 million to Becca Balance political campaign in Vermont, as well as $500,000 to the Democratic Party of Oregon. In total, it's been reported that Singh has spent around $8 million on pro-Democrat campaign contributions. And my point is, to summarize, all the high-level employees at FTX or Alameda had ties to the DNC, SEC, or Washington, D.C. But here's what's really weird. I can't find anything on FTX co-founder Gary Wang. There's 3 poor quality photos.
The part about the SUC, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, because that's her point. Her point is that how can they investigate them themselves? She meaning that it's the Securities and Exchange Commission who's going to do the investigation, but they got all these damn internal ties with the company, with the literal.
This is the exact same thing that the Democrats have been doing as far as the fact checking. Like, you know, they fact check themselves, and of course, like, if they're not gonna want to pass the information on to the people, you know, if they're hiding it to begin with, like, all of a sudden they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, yeah, we were, you know, like, man, like, I don't like this is why I get pissed off, because, like, democracy, I believe in democracy. Like, I don't, like, people probably think like I'm like insane because, you know, but I get mad that it's getting manipulated and it's not democracy anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, what they're actually practicing is not democracy. So they can rob people of their money, their investments, all to, you know, because of their agenda, and all of them are winning. Like, they are like,
yeah, because I don't know if she mentions it in this video, but it was a bunch of people who pulled, they sold their shares before it crashed. So, you know, they blew this shit up that wasn't really worth nothing from the jump.
But it didn't. But that's the thing. It didn't crash. Like, not on its own. Like, they made it crash. They robbed it. $32 billion.
No, I don't think that's the case. I don't believe that. I believe it was a scam from the jump. It was a scam from the beginning. It was a ripoff, and people ran away with the money. It's a Ponzi scheme. You make something that's not worth nothing into something, and then when the people believe that it's something, you take all your damn money out of it, the money that they put in it, the real fucking money, and you go home. And then they left with the bag because people lost their money overnight.
Well, I mean, in a company like that, like, I do quite a bit of investing. They don't let you just come with you know, with your own, like, with cash. Like, you got to go convert your cash into whatever crypto, like, most likely Bitcoin, or, you know, if you can get a hold to some USD, some USDT, or something, like, and that's what you invest. So, I mean, one way or the other, like, it's a diversion of funds, but still in all, like, you actually invest in crypto. So that crypto is what was invested. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of what you're saying, like, the real money, this or that or whatever, you know, whatever you want to call real money, because all of it, as far as I'm concerned, is just currency. It's not like, money is silver and gold. Crypto, cash, what, you know, debits and credits in the banks, that's just currency. It's not real money.
Well, those numbers on the screen, that was the currency, turned into zero for a whole bunch of people overnight.
Well, I get it. And, you know, but, you know, to me, I mean, I'm sitting up here thinking, like, with all of these, because, I mean, look who they got to, like, these scams are being run by people in, like, these colleges that you're talking about, like MIT, you know, like, smart motherfuckers.
The best and brightest. The government agents, people, like, all mixed up in it.
because and I'm halfway thinking like, why we can't have some like all the HBCUs, the top, the brightest of the people in all of these different colleges can come together and put these, put together something that's beneficial, not where we actually gonna rob people, but like I really feel like,
Because
that's
it's
really
easier. It's easier to do this because it's a scam. It's she's talking about them partying. They just freaking partying is what they doing, and they don't have no like, they don't care who's getting hurt. Like I'm finna get rich and that's it. Like it's money over everything. Like, and I got the great idea and I know it's gonna work, and you do it, and it works, and you just fucking party. Let me play the rest of her shit. It's like 3 minutes or so. I might stop it again.
Of him circulating, but not one interview or clip of him on the internet. His FTX profile picture on Sequoia Capital even has him turned away from the camera. Does he even exist at all? Most of the FTX contributions were to the Democrats, except for Ryan Salame, CEO of FTX Digital Markets, and his $23 million donation to the Republican Party, which is kind of nothing compared to the bags they've dropped and plan to drop on the DNC. But at the top, there is no red or blue, there's just one team. And it tells me they were looking for both parties to comply with what they had in store. Pandemic lockdowns and mandates, perhaps, or perhaps crypto regulation. It's apparent that Democrats definitely got more out of the deal since Ukraine partnered with FTX through the WF to receive donations.
What? Ukraine?
So since FTX makes money off of all of those transaction fees, all of the money funneling into Ukraine, FTX got a cut of. Then Sam turned around and gave a huge chunk of that to the Democrats.
See, that's just money laundering, and that's what I was saying about the damn they sending another $41 billion or some shit to Ukraine.
Well, but that's the whole thing. Like they're doing the same thing with Ukraine that they've been doing with Israel. Like it's just like that's another one of their United States.
It's freaking money laundering is what they're doing.
It's money laundering. But
people are getting rich.
They're stealing money from us to be able, because see, and that's one of the main reasons why the globalism is such an important thing to Democrats, is because that gives them a reason to send money to different countries. They send money all these different countries with no real like, I don't know, like they can make up a reason. Like it don't even have to be nothing real. You know what I'm saying? Like they got all kind of investments going on that's all over, shit. I guarantee you, if you really looked up all of what's going on in Ukraine, like it's probably all mostly U.S. owned or something that was already began here. Investments that companies that was here that's invested there.
Well, or making money out of it some kind of way. Definitely American companies. That's all they do.
Yeah, they're making money off of it, but usually money is made from initial investments. It's not just, you just pop up somewhere and money starts.
You don't have to have no damn investment if the government is giving you $41 billion. That's the investment.
No, but that's how some of the money gets. See, initially, like that's the whole thing, bro. Like business has never changed. It's always worked a certain way. It has an origin. It has a beginning point. So, yes, like just like what they did with Pfizer, it was already Pfizer and Moderna and all them. Like they already were a business, but because they were a business and set up and ready, they can have them come up with these shots and pay them for it, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna definitely make the money.
That's not random. That's all the way set up. Government contracts. My buddy, my uncle, my cousin, my brother, my sister, my husband, somebody's company and they set it all the way up completely legal, and they waiting for these damn government contracts. They know it's coming. They did it before they knew it was coming before they set the damn company up.
Well, some of them, yes. I mean, some of these companies we know is not new, and that's why I'm saying like a bunch of the companies that's there already existed. They just so happened to go set up shop there because they knew like their initial investment that they had here. Okay, oh, what if I do it over here? Then that's gonna open the door for this, or this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to donate some of this money to whatever, but that's nothing compared to how much I'm actually gonna make over, the next 20 years, 40, what I'm saying? Like 2 years, within 2 years they made so much money.
Yeah, this dude right here got rich as hell in 2 years. That's the FTX, something like that. Let me play this.
Becoming the second largest donor behind George Soros. And reports were that FTX wanted to spend over $1 billion on the Democratic Party for 2024. By the way, Alex Bornikov, Deputy Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, took to Twitter Monday night, and he officially denied the story about Ukraine's crypto fundraising effort. Quote, a fundraising crypto foundation, Aid for Ukraine, used FTX officials to convert crypto donations into fiat in March. Ukraine's Gov never invested any funds into FTX. The whole narrative that Ukraine allegedly invested in FTX, who donated money to Democrats, is nonsense, frankly. End quote. But what did you expect him to say? Yeah, it's all true, nana nana boo boo, sorry pores. By the way, what oversight is there in these $1 billion US tax dollar aid packages to Ukraine? I'm guessing
question.
Virtually none. On an even more disgusting note, CoinDesk reported that FTX's operations were run by Sam's inner circle of 10 roommates who all dated each other. They stole billions of dollars from their users and were having company-wide sex parties while doing so. One participant of these parties, allegedly, might have been New York Times writer David Yaff Bellany, who wrote a fluff piece on Sam, the scam artist, this week and never once mentioned his donations to Democrats or Ukrainian money laundering. I say he might have been a participant because he tweeted about visiting Sam's penthouse in the past and bragged about encountering crypto-themed condoms. Gary Wang's hologram flickering in the corner probably witnessed the whole thing go down. Caroline's supposed Tumblr blog, which was active from 2014 until this past week, detailed the sexual dynamic between the FTX staff, the polyamory, saying that her ideal guy was one who controlled most major world governments. And she said crypto was mainly scams and memes. It's almost too perfect to be true. It's like the very fabric of reality is unraveling. By the way, CoinDesk will do an expose on 10 coworkers living in a weird harem penthouse doing booger sugar all day, ripping off their clients to the tune of billions. But the second one of CoinDesk's writers notices that all these folks have a common denominator, they're TTs, Talmudic types, another acronym for your repertoire, he was fired. It very much looks like a case of Spook Family Robinson, a character set up to fail, most likely to bring in crypto regulation. So what do you think, internet friends? Should the people who are connected to this whole FTX fraud be the ones investigating their own wrongdoing? How can the SEC be impartial when Gary Gensler has barely a degree of separation from all of this? Can mainstream media be a reliable source when they're the ones getting whipped by Caroline at the penthouse? Can we vote our way out of this by electing more politicians who just line their pockets with these dirty dollars? Let me know your thoughts.
What happened during the last recession? The last big recession, what was the big thing that happened just before it?
I don't know. You talking about the housing crisis and when they bailed out the banks?
Bernie Madoff.
I don't know.
Remember him?
No.
Enron?
Oh, Enron. Yeah, I do remember Enron.
Bro, this is the same shit.
Yeah. I agree.
This is the playbook. Like this is and what did it bring? New regulations on everything, like the whole money system, like the banks having new regulate, like they got bailed out, but they came in with new regulations on really this ain't your money, like and they could take it anytime they get ready.
Well, the regulations were to keep from people being able to do that shit and rip people off like Enron did.
No, it's so that they like it would gave them more of a chance to do it.
These companies, just like this with the FTX, that's a good example with Enron, because that's what it is. It's just a straight up ripoff from the beginning. Like what she said, she thinks that he was set up to fail. I don't think so. I think that they were ripping people off, and that was the plan all along from the jump.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
He
she's
won.
saying it that way. I know that's the thing, but that's what she's ultimately saying. It's really perspective. So she's really saying the same thing that you are. It's just that because she's trying to drive a point that okay, this whole thing, like, yes, they're trying to find a way, because see, the main thing that they did when they did this was to rob people of hope in the crypto sector, because this was built up like it was so secure. It really is still secure. It's just that if you hadn't dealing with that one company that was able to like get probably who knows how many people to to invest, because this is not even real Bitcoin probably. Like they might have had like whatever the initial investments, but whatever they were investing in, those I don't think that it really was going into the market of real
So,
you know what I'm saying?
I have to ask you though, what makes you think that this couldn't happen to Bitcoin?
I'm not saying, well, I don't think it can happen to Bitcoin because of the technology, the blockchain technology. The way it's set up is so that like it's traceable. Like every movement is so traceable to where like you can't get away with stealing it. Now you might lose it because I'm like you got like a 16 to 20 character PIN number or account number to be able to attach yourself to it, and different words and stuff that you got to use like in sequence. Like there's so many different things you have to process, you got to go through just to be able to get your own money. So anybody that has tapped into that account, it's traceable. So that's why the whole blockchain thing is so revolutionary, is that it's secured on a personal level. I don't need you to tell me I can get my money or not. I can save my money on a chip and put it in and take it out. Like I don't need to leave it even in somebody else's whatever, like these different accounts that you draw up for yourself. But like that's the whole thing. Like the main thing that they're trying to do here is to weaken people's belief in the future of crypto without their involvement. Y'all need us to make this not happen to you. That's what they're trying. Like ultimately, that's what their plan was. Like I don't even think like they was really doing any real trading. Maybe they did. I'm not gonna say they didn't, but the whole point was not the biggest thing that they needed people to do is to be able to say, all right, yeah, I can see, crypto is good, but we just need somebody to make sure that it's, like they want us to beg for regulations.
Well, just like earlier when we was talking about taxes, and I was saying taxes is a good thing. And a lot of, regulations can also be a good thing. That if you just have
scared.
If you just have a free for all out there, that gives the people opportunity to just take advantage of people to no end.
But
There
see,
has to
that's the
be
thing. Regulations are good for
rules.
people who don't have, like, they need somebody to control their life for them.
No, it's a protection to keep you from getting ripped off by every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Exactly. Like, I hear you, but I mean, that's just like the whole story about Kanye, when Kanye said that after 400 years and you're still in the same position, at some point you had to say that it was a decision to stay where you were.
Those
It's kind
people,
of it's kind
those
of
people
in
that
that
work
same
for
realm.
Enron, they lost their whole life savings. Like they didn't do nothing wrong. They was working a job, and
I get that. I hear you. I get that. But the whole thing is, if they can mind fuck you from the beginning, and like, some people is gonna be like, they're never gonna invest ever again. But then there's others like, all right, you know what, I got on this, but all right, they're gonna still go and invest because it's a way of life for them.
them people lost their retirement. Like their life was just fucked.
I know, but who
They
you
didn't
gonna
do
blame?
nothing wrong.
But who are you blaming for that?
I'm blaming them people ripping them off. The Enron folks. They knew what they were doing.
So you think Enron got as big as it was by itself? Like there was no government involvement in that?
I'm sure everybody getting paid. So whoever wants to get paid, I'm sure it was some people in the government getting paid off of that too. That's beside the point. You're saying that it was those people's fault. It wasn't. They didn't do nothing wrong. They just got taken.
I never said it was anyone's fault other than the fact that we know it was a scam. Like the scammers, like that's who's at fault. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is it's a psyop. They're trying to make all these investors believe that they're better off with the government's involvement.
I'm just saying there has to be a certain level of regulations, or it's just Wild Wild West and housing market, and
but the
we
world
really don't have.
Is the Wild Wild West. It's a bunch of facade to believe
really don't
that
have.
You're safe.
We really don't have much regulations, and that's the reason why we have all these monopolies and oligarchies.
No, we have a bunch of regulations and this, that, and the other that they can break. That's they have that. There's a facade. We believe that we have regulations, but shit like this still happens. Or what I'm saying. You think that because like I said, I don't think that this guy did anything extra special. Like he had control over people's money and he robbed them. He didn't do anything like what I'm saying. Like he didn't break the blockchain. You know what I'm saying? Like
I agree with you there.
So the system that they're trying to get people to not have trust in is still working properly. It's just that they have manipulated people's minds to believe that, I can't trust this, and I lost $30,000 or $100,000, or because maybe some people in the millions I'm assuming. Like it's hard to believe anything that they got to say because it's their media. They have the right to lie to us. So like the main thing is so that we start to beg them to regulate crypto. So I mean,
that could be the case. I mean,
what
do I know?
I'm just saying, like, I mean, I'm in economics. I understand, like, I understand it way more than you might think because, like, my ex-wife is a economics major, and I studied with her, helped her study. I understand a lot of this shit, and I play with. I put my own money up in this very system. So I'm here to tell you, and I know these crooks. Like, I'm 46 years old. I've been living in this country all 46. They're crooks, and they keep doing the same shit over and over again. And it's just like, if you don't pay attention, yeah, you can be still trying to figure it out. But when you see the pattern, you almost just looking for it. You can like, and then when it happens, it's like, oh, that's what that was. I mean, that's where it becomes. So I guarantee you ask some people who are not afraid to tell the truth, or that understand this market and what happened, they'll tell you the same thing. Practically exactly what that woman she really just told us what it was.
Yeah. Candace Owens is talking bad mouthing Trump. I want to talk about the SNL show. Did you see any clips or hear anything about Dave Chappelle doing SNL this week?
Hell yeah, I saw the monologue, and I saw the one with the little skit in the barbershop, which
Yeah, I watched.
was, I mean, the monologue was it was great. It was good. The
Yeah,
barbershop,
so
it was kind of funny. You know what I'm saying? It was
but
decent.
it's SNL, but it was cool. He turned it into the Dave Chappelle show because the writers boycotted the show. And also the monologue he did, that wasn't the same monologue he did in the rehearsal.
Good. Keep their ass on their toes.
Yeah,
But
so he got them all over the place. It's really cool what he does. So, but I kind of wanted to talk about his monologue. What did you think about the stuff? I can't play it. They'll probably get on me if I play it.
No, I think it was also, like, I love Dave Chappelle. One of my favorite comedians. I'm a comedian. Comedy. Like, I watch that more than anything. So I say he's one of the best. He's like probably the most skilled, and just the more, like what you just said, just let me appreciate it even more. The fact that he rehearsed one thing, and then when the showtime, he came out with a whole nother set. So it's like, and I'm sure, like, if he would have came with what he did in rehearsal, no, if he would have done what he did in the show in rehearsal, they probably would have had something to say about it.
Right. That's the reason why he left certain parts out. Right. Exactly. They would have said you can't say that or something like that.
Yes.
So it's too late like, now because it's SNL is live. Yeah. So he didn't already said it. They could just cry about it.
Yeah. And if you got something to say, I won't bring my ass back then. But say, bro, one of the things that I think breaking down the power structure takes stuff like this is because we need people who are fearless enough and have the tact to be able to bring enough awareness for people to start having a sense enough to ask themselves questions. You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute, if he's saying this, then I mean, shouldn't why is he not afraid? Are they gonna attack him? Are they gonna make him beg and stuff for a job? Or like I'm saying, like, what's really happening?
What's really struck me from the monologue was how because they're pissed about some of the stuff he said, right, in the monologue. They're pissed at him. But he said nigga like 2 times in the monologue. And I was thinking about that because it's like, this is a big ass channel, live TV,
Nothing's wrong with that. No, that's
they okay with that. They're perfectly fine with that. But
it's nowhere near it's not a curse word. But if
he criticized, if he's criticizing,
you don't have to. You don't even have to criticize them. You say,
mentioning them,
bro. Just if you mention them, that's like you are attacking them. That's the way they act about it. Because if you remember when 444 came out, Jay-Z comment, like gave, you know, like
A
he was
compliment.
giving them, yeah, he was complimenting them, and they still checked him.
Yeah, that shit crazy. Freaking so hold on, I think I could play some of this.
For all your hemp wellness needs.
Hold on. I don't want to play
the mic. He's getting ready for his upcoming 2020. Want to miss him? Take
My thing is,
Mike,
I think
looking
we
forward
get
to-
to the point where they're trying to say that black people don't have the right to even say their name. Like, you are so beneath us that you saying my name is offensive to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
the-
Like, this is how they're trying to act, because other people can say it. Like, I done heard white people say it many times. The Jews are this, blah, blah, blah. Nothing ever happens. As soon as a black person says it, it's a problem.
It's a problem. This one, it says the powers that be now want Dave Chappelle's dome on a stick for his SNL monologue.
Who said that?
Mike on the mic. Looking forward to seeing you there.
What up, y'all? It's your man Sam, and here at Viral Hip Hop News. Go ahead and hit that like button. Smash that notification bell, and if you're not subscribed to Viral Hip Hop News, ladies and gentlemen, what are you waiting for? Subscribe right now to the brand. Appreciate each and every one of y'all, and let's get to work. All right, Dave Chappelle, the best comic we got out here right now. That's my opinion. I don't think it's close. He is the man at what he does. He was on Saturday Night Live a couple nights ago where he did his opening monologue. I have not watched a single full episode of Saturday Night Live, so I'm not sure exactly how the format works. But I know they have on somebody, they bring on some comic relief, and then they go ahead and do their show. Dave Chappelle went on and did his thing like only Dave Chappelle can, shining light and making fun of this current situation we're in involving Kyrie Irving, Kanye West, and the Jewish community, a.k.a. the Jewish executives in Hollywood. Let's be very specific about that. And our place as it stands with Hebrew and Jewish culture as it pertains to black people. Dave Chappelle shined light on all of that, made fun of all of that, and really put on a great show while at the same time highlighting some very important points that needed to be highlighted, right? So it's not surprising that people were upset, even though he didn't say anything that I believe deems any type of backlash or type of fear that something is going to happen from this, but some people do. One of those people being Jonathan Greenblatt, the official spokesperson of the ADL, and he said this: we shouldn't expect Dave Chappelle to serve as society's moral compass, but disturbing to see NBC SNL not just normalize but popularize, quote, anti-Semitism. Why are Jewish sensitivities denied or diminished at almost every turn? Why does our trauma trigger applause? Interesting. Then we had a number of tweets by a gentleman by the name of Rudy Roshman. I've never heard of him. He seems as though he's a professional victim, if you ask me. But we're going to be fair, and we're going to read his comments, and then we'll go ahead and give our opinion. He said Dave Chappelle's SNL skit was a malicious and calculated move to desensitize the population from anti-Semitism, getting society to laugh at Jewish traumas, struggles, and normalizing historic tropes by manipulating the average person's pain and redirecting their reactions onto Jews. Then he went on to say, this is one of the earliest steps, but
Y'all
once
weren't
this stage
so
is
damn
complete, the
ridiculous.
attacks evolve from verbal to physical, then from individual to institutional, and because most will already be desensitized, the world will watch and do nothing.
Sound like he talking about black people.
He went on to say, history is repeating, but it doesn't have to repeat. When Jews were / are united and empowered, they have always overcome the greatest of enemy civilizations or struggles. When Jews were / are divided and assimilated, history repeats an outcome far too familiar. Now, if we take a step back, the metaphysical root of this irrational, illogical hatred of an age-old rejection of the Jewish people has always stemmed not only from the nation of Israel having the potential to, but also having chosen a responsibility to heal this world. I know many don't want to face that responsibility.
What's going on?
Believe that the world will come running to save the Jews, or that we can just blend in and be like everyone else, but we can't. Jews chose to accept the responsibility and mission statement of the Tikkun Olam and to be Olagoyam, and I apologize if I'm saying those incorrectly. I'm not familiar with those terms, so I apologize. But he said, which means to be a light onto others and to heal every problem in this world. If the world was a body,
Man.
what organ or function would play that role? The immune system. Leave the sun, lay the sun up, or something like that. I apologize if I'm.
He said the immune system. Anyways, go ahead. What
Bro,
are you gonna say?
they don't shine no light nowhere. They dim it every chance they get. And like the beauty of being accepted is to be able to accept a joke about yourself and something. It's like none of this stuff is malicious. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, you could, because I think to maybe some extent Kanye was trying to push some buttons, but he never really went out there and just could have just done like me and say, y'all ain't really freaking Jews. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all the 13th tribe that your own people say you are. Y'all were grafted in. Y'all were allowed to come in to a religion. You're not Jews by blood, like nobody's a Jew by blood. Like get over it. Like that's the problem that I have is that they act like they can change. Most of them are atheists. So you're not really a Jew. You just using this to be able to be butthurt about whatever because you got money and you can whine and cry, but
Hey, internet
if you that sensitive, I don't like you far from being God's chosen.
Yeah, and they were talking about the ADL. That's who the first tweet that he played.
And Anti-Defamation League, yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting because that's why I want to play this clip right here because she's talking about the founders of the ADL and how that shit came about, and then like who these people
can well, let me just say, like, even in recent history, like one of the reasons why like even like in the 1950s, like the reasons why they were kind of put on the bottom of the totem is because they were related to us, because they supposedly had black blood. Like they try to do that similarly to the Italians, but the Italians kind of just like, look, I am who I am. I'll fuck you up if you got something else to say. Call me something. You know what I'm saying? Like they was gangsters about it. These Jews, like they were gangster at some point. Like they were like one of the first mobs that began down in New Orleans. If people who don't really know the history, like one of the first mobs in this country began in New Orleans, and it was the Jews. But however, over time they've gotten so damn sensitive and forgot where the hell they came from, and now they want to attack the people that protected them in the days before. So like they on some sucker shit. I just had to say that.
Let me read this. This is another really graceful video. She says, "Don't let them erase history." It says, "This video is the first part in a mini-series about a famous Georgia trial, the trial of Leo Frank. The details of this trial have been purposefully twisted over time, images of news articles doctored, and any questioning about it silenced. This video is highly sourced from Supreme Court documents, archives, and original news articles and statements from the victim's family. I have all resources pinned in the top comment." So the Anne Frank thing. So the reason why I wanted to cover this is because of the connection to the ADL. And these are the people who are all mad about,
everybody and everything.
And so yeah, so this story is related to that. So let me read a couple comments. It says, these are comments underneath this video. "The negative sentiment they have garnered throughout history wasn't from blind bigotry or superstition, but pattern recognition." I'm gonna just read their comment. I ain't gonna make a comment on that comment because that's touchy. Let me read this one. It says, every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered. And the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right. Orwell, 1984. That was taken from that. Let me read another comment. It says, to see who rules over you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize. Yeah. So, and let me read this one. It says, thanks for bringing awareness to this topic. Most people have no idea how evil the ADL and the people behind it are. This is a great way to introduce people to the greater issue. So I think that's a great segue.
I like that. I like that comment. Yeah, I like that comment.
That's the perfect segue into the video. Let me play some of it.
Friends, isn't it odd that a solitary moment can change everything? How one person's actions can transform the future and influence lives for decades and even centuries? A single wicked act, a handful of rushed lies, retribution, and what we're left with is the thing that emerged from the black pit of chaos. A patient group who has long waited for everyone to forget the past so that they can rewrite it, thereby carving out a new future. We've arrived at their moment, now, as I speak. The culmination of their suffering, their plotting, their efforts. The Anti-Defamation League has waited a long time for their reign, enticing the masses under the guise of all that is just and fair, with their thorns wrapping around society, shaping public discourse, silencing those who would seek to question them, all to be a ruling force, unquestioned and unmatched. Some would even argue that the ADL is the single most influential organization in the United States. But is the ADL worthy of such power, such influence? Are they a betterment to society as they claim? Or are they unfit, illegitimate, their very existence built upon the sleight of hand and half-truths? You'll be able to answer that question for me after this video, using official court documents, newspaper articles, witness testimonies, and statements from the victim's living family. I'm going to tell you the story of how the life of little Mary Fagan came to an end, how the Anti-Defamation League rose to power, and why the ADL seeks to erase this moment from the pages of history. As a reminder, facts are not hateful, and as the quote goes, truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it, you just let it loose, and it'll defend itself.
Yep, because I want to see him prove me wrong.
Let's travel back in time to over a century ago, to my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. April 26, 1913. Post-Civil War, Atlanta had finally stopped smoldering. Businessmen and workers alike flocked south for opportunity. One of these businessmen was a 29-year-old Jewish man by the name of Leo Frank, who was raised in New York and had spent the last several years touring Europe after graduating from Cornell, learning the ways of business so he could run Atlanta's National Pencil Company, a sweatshop factory where over 100 children were employed. A 4-story building caked in grime with little in the way of ventilation, where Frank served as a superintendent. Outside of work, Frank was heavily involved in the local Jewish community, becoming president of the Atlanta chapter of B'nai B'rith, which is kind of like a Masonic society with their lodges and doings, but only for Jewish members. B'nai B'rith is the ADL's parent organization and was founded in 1843 in New York as a Jewish counterpart of fraternal orders that were then flourishing in America. It was a Saturday, a holiday to be precise, on the day that was once celebrated as Confederate Memorial Day, when 13-year-old pencil factory worker Mary Fagan entered the office of her boss, Leo Frank, to collect her pay of $1.20. Mary was just 12 years old when she began working for Frank. She and her family, they didn't have much. When her mother was 6 months pregnant with her, Mary's father died of measles, leaving her mother widowed with 4 other young children. Mary's mom moved her family from Alabama to East Point, Atlanta, Georgia. where they had more family and more opportunity for employment. Mary herself was a beautiful girl with fair skin, blue eyes, dimples, and long reddish-brown hair. And she was described by her family and peers as a sweet girl with a bubbly and loving personality. On this tragic Saturday in 1913, Mary set out to collect her paycheck and meet her boy sweetheart outside of the factory that afternoon so they could go watch the parade together. Sadly, that never happened. Leo Frank would be the last known person to see Mary Fagan alive. The following morning, before the sun had even risen in the east, the night watchman, also known as the security guard of the pencil factory, a black man by the name of Newt Lee, discovered Mary's dead and brutally beaten body discarded in the basement of the factory, amongst a sea of bloody pencil shavings with a cord around her neck, and beside her body, 2 notes describing her murderer through Mary's point of view. She wrote about a long, tall black man called the Night Witch. It was written like she scribbled it down in her final moments, even though the note wasn't in her handwriting. Her autopsy later revealed that the 13-year-old had not only been beaten, but raped by her killer. Of course, Newt Lee was immediately brought in for questioning. He was the main suspect. He'd discovered Mary's body after all. Police fired a gun right next to Lee's head and he was subject to intense interrogation as the hunt for Mary's killer commenced. But despite the pressure, Lee never confessed. According to police reports, a blood-soaked shirt was left at Newt Lee's home. Leo Frank's attorney hinted to police where they would find the evidence. Newspapers published this development and the mob nearly lynched Newt Lee then and there. But police were not as easily swayed. There was strong evidence to support that Leo Frank himself had hired private detectives to frame his night watchman because the detectives had done such a sloppy job. All of this was relayed in the Atlanta Constitution and even in the New York Times in 1914, alongside reports of bribery and witness intimidation. Once Lee was found innocent, 2 suspects remained. The first suspect was a black man by the name of Jim Conley, the factory's janitor, who curiously held the lowest status job at the factory, yet somehow was paid 50% more than all the other child laborers like Mary. Conley was even given special privileges by his superintendent, Leo Frank. They had an interestingly close working relationship. You see, Conley never had to keep up with his time card. He never had to punch the clock like the others. He could just come and go as he pleased. The second suspect was Conley's boss, Leo Frank, who went on record as the last person to witness Mary alive. Unlike Conley, Leo Frank hired the best defense team money could buy. Unlike Conley, Frank had the money for a legal team to prove his innocence. Not only that, but unlike Conley, Frank had the backing of B'nai B'rith to influence and sway his trial. The grand jury consisted of 23 members, including 5 prominent members of the Jewish community in Atlanta, 2 of which were reportedly from the synagogue Frank attended. Mary Fagan's murder trial made headline after headline all summer. You see, Georgia summers are notoriously hot and humid. The days are long, the sun unrelenting. All you have to do is walk outside and you'll start sweating. The trial began to heat up after Conley admitted that he wasn't illiterate like he had previously stated. Oh no, he could read and write just fine. So fine, in fact, that Conley swore his boss, Leo Frank, paid him to write Mary's murder note. The one about the long, tall black man, the Night Witch. As Conley continued, it seemed like his involvement was more and more like he was Frank's accomplice, with Frank as the main suspect. Unlike Conley, Frank absolutely refused to be cross-examined, but there was overwhelming evidence against him, including blood and hair left at the crime scene, as well as Frank's ever-changing alibi. Frank's accounts of his interaction with Mary in her final moments began to unravel. They morphed with every retelling. Originally, Frank swore that he stayed in his office following Mary's departure after receiving her pay envelope. But later, Frank stated he might have taken an unconscious bathroom break that would have placed him walking past the metal room, the site where Mary was believed to have been murdered, and at the suspected time when the attack occurred. Another young worker was called to the witness stand claiming that she had gone to Frank's office right after Mary had left, and Frank wasn't there. He was nowhere to be found, and she even waited around for a bit but concluded that Frank had gone home for the day. The character witnesses included a string of female employees who all had the same thing to say about Frank. He was handsy with the girls, he touched them, he stared, he made rude comments. The guy was a well-known pervert, and all the female employees knew it. They all said so. Quote, 16-year-old Nellie Wood told the court how Frank had pushed himself against her and touched her breast. 14-year-old Nellie Pettis, a witness for the defense, recounted how Leo Frank had propositioned her for sex. 20 girls in all gave similar testimony about Frank's improprieties. Several male employees described how they had witnessed Leo Frank rub up against young female coworkers a little bit too much. The testimony was so explicit that the judge had to clear the courtroom of women. End quote. After a long, drawn-out trial that garnered immense public attention and claims from the prosecution that alleged bribery and witness tampering from Frank's legal team had occurred, the grand jury reached a unanimous verdict. All the grand jurors, including the 5 Jewish jurors, signed the bill of indictment against Leo Frank. They'd all decided he was guilty. After being convicted of murder, the judge sentenced Frank to death by hanging, which was set to be carried out in October. But after Frank's legal team attempted several failed appeals all the way up to the federal level, 13 separate appeals to be exact, in 1915, under intense political pressure, attorney in Georgia Governor Slayton, on his last day in office, had Frank's sentence reduced to life in prison. Alongside the order, Governor Slayton wrote that the U.S. Supreme Court, quote, found in the trial no error in law and had correctly, in my judgment, found that there was sufficient evidence to sustain the verdict, end quote. Keep in mind that Frank, on top of murdering Mary Fagan, had tried to pin the murder on 2 different black men. Frank claimed that rape and murder were black crimes, and any black person who testified against him should be barred because their testimony was invalid based on their skin color. When the public heard that Governor Slayton had reduced Frank's sentence, they were angry. They believed the justice system had failed Mary Fagan, the real victim. After all, Governor Slayton was a former partner at the law firm of Frank's defense team, so the public suspected some under-the-table deals and bribery. As a result, a group of about 25 men who called themselves the Knights of Mary Fagan took justice into their own hands. They kidnapped Leo Frank from prison and hanged him in Marietta, Georgia, his body facing the direction of the Fagan residence. You remember I told you in the beginning that Leo Frank was the president of the Atlanta chapter of B'nai B'rith, an organization whose mission preaches philanthropy and community outreach. But apparently they did a little bit too much community outreach because they were accused of espionage during the Civil War and implicated in the assassination of President Lincoln, with the goal of subverting and fragmenting America so that it could once again fall under the British crown. And this was documented by both Gentile and Jewish scholars alike. They were accused of being spies for the crown. It didn't matter to B'nai B'rith that Leo Frank was found guilty and convicted of murder by a unanimous jury. Even when he was sitting in his jail cell, the Atlanta chapter re-elected Frank as president. Members of B'nai B'rith stated that they believed the real murderer was Jim Conley, the janitor. And the testimony of a black man, a second-class citizen in their eyes, was unreliable. Furthermore, B'nai B'rith claimed that the trial was too hasty, and the only honest people in the courtroom were Frank and his defense team. Everybody else, they claim, was either bribed, threatened, or fell under one all-encompassing term, an anti-Semite. All my sources are listed.
So this is the beginning of the the ADL. They was willing to ride with him no matter what, even though he got found guilty. They said, you know, that this is a crime of black men. They said, you know, the only people that were honest was that guy who's Jewish and part of their team and his lawyers, and everybody else was either bribed or lying or second-class citizens. You can't listen to what they have to say. And this is the point of view of the Jewish community. That's the point of this. And, you know, the ADL saying that those people who said he was guilty, they were anti-Semites. Losing y'all?
But by whose standard?
By their standard. They're the ADL.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, and I mean, I get it. I mean, that's the way that they presented the case and all, but they're the anti-Semites.
Yeah. So that's the point of this. Like, this guy did this super horrible thing. Clearly.
Lies on other people.
Tried to get black man killed and shit.
Set them up.
And this is the same playbook. That's the point. That's the reason why I wanted to cover this. It's the same playbook. And it's like, oh, wait, this guy is guilty. He freaking killed this. He raped and killed this young chick. Like, oh, you're an anti-Semite. You just hate Jewish people. Wait, no, he raped and killed this chick. Like, everybody said it. Even the people on the damn jury were Jewish. Like, they all said his dude is guilty. You're just an anti-Semite. You just hate Jewish people. It was the black guy.
But what is, and see, my thing is, you know, this was when in the 60s,
1913.
1913. Okay, so even all right, that's even worse. Like,
so that's
as
the
far as
birth of the ADL.
Yeah. So
The
I
parent.
mean, what evidence did they have to prove? I guess evidence didn't really matter as long as a white man was saying during that time. Is if well, no, now they had the Constitution and stuff had been
But it was this guy specifically Jewish. You know, that's the important part of this. Like, you know, and maybe that's part of the reason why they was even able to get at him. I don't know, but that's why they killed him. That's why they said he was guilty. And probably to this day, they would be like, you know, it was an injustice.
Yeah, for those
He
who
was
actually
innocent.
know the truth now, because I mean, who at some point somebody had to speak up and say, okay, this was a lie, blah blah blah. You know.
Well, that's what she's saying in the video. Ever since this has happened, the story is changing, the history is changing to make it look like this guy was really innocent. It was one of the black guys who really did it. And they were just anti-Semites. That's the reason why they killed him.
They killed him?
The guy who did yeah, they hung him.
All right. Because I did kind of like part of I must have, that's a part that I must admit. Now, who got hung? One of the black guys got hung?
No, the white guy, the guy who did it, the Jewish guy.
Okay. But
because he got found guilty, he was supposed to get hung, but they got him to get life in prison or whatever. They got him off basically, and a mob came and took him out the prison and went and hung him.
Well, you know, I mean, honestly, you know, I try to be fair in my assessments. You know, I'm not gonna necessarily say he deserved that, but maybe he deserved that.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is this is the parents of the ADL. This is the beginning of the ADL.
Mm-hmm.
They said that the people who felt like he was guilty were anti-Semites. They didn't like Jewish people. Even though there was all this evidence, this big long trial, the dude clearly did the shit.
Yeah, and he's actually like he's trying to get somebody else killed for his crime, And now, like they trying to point, see, and that just like that's exactly what they're doing right now. Like it's
That's
the
what I'm
same
saying.
kind of,
Boom. That's
yeah.
it. That's my point. That's why I wanted to cover it, because that's exactly what they're doing right now. Exactly what they're doing right now. Like no difference. It's the same playbook. You know.
Trying to point the finger at somebody else or what they did, even though like they live a lie. Like their whole existence, I'm gonna say to some extent, because those who still hold to the true values of Judaism,
Yeah.
the part that actually makes you a Jew, because
Yeah.
it's not a bloodline.
Yeah. So it's not one to be held accountable for your actions. It's not even one to acknowledge that you did anything wrong at all, you know? And also not feeling like everyone else, or at least some of the other people, are lesser than you anyways, and aren't in the position to question what you do in the first place or have anything to say about it.
Well, I mean, that's what comes with, maybe that happened to us to some extent as Moors, is that the more power we had, the more we exercise things and try to get away with stuff that we probably shouldn't have. And this is the same thing that they're doing. And just like it was a demise for us, it looks like it's going to become a demise for them. How soon from here will we see it? Who knows? But overall, I think that us as a people, we need to get away from all of these different tags and, what I'm saying? Like, if we're gonna, move into the future, we need to be able to work together, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're gonna, if we're gonna be fair all around, what I'm saying? It's too late in the game to try to say that, there's no, I don't know any way to prove that any of us are, especially by blood or anything, like they wasn't doing DNA tests to link any of us with the people from the from the past, so that's why I'm like, okay, if there's a paper trail and we can see it, we can, there's, actual proof where we can see it and we can live by it, okay, cool. But we already know doing these blood tests is a bunch of, it's bullshit. You don't find out who your family is, from centuries ago by blood. You just don't. But I think that these people need to just get over it. They already in a good position of power and money and all this, that, and the other. Be happy. Live out the last bit of your days. Shit. Be in a position to continue to pass down to your children as long as they can last here. But why you gotta, be so angry with black people that you go out of your way to do, what I'm saying? Why be angry with anybody that much? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just that just tells me you're still a failure. Like you feel like a failure in your heart.
Let me read some
You have to go to this extent to try to be able to see somebody hurt, because it's because your ass is hurt.
Yeah, hurt people. Let me read some comments. This one, it says, my wife tells me often there is nothing more dangerous than a perpetual victim. Yep. Another comment, it says, really, Graceful is one of very few in the alternative media to tackle this question head on. Bravo, love from the UK. Another comment, it says, I first heard about Leo Frank back in 8th grade when I was looking the Birth of a Nation movie, which led me to reading about the KKK, then Leo Frank. At the time, I literally was incapable of understanding why Leo Frank would do what he did. Now in my late 20s, I now understand how dark our world really is. R.I.P. Little Mary Fagan. Another comment says, Grace is extremely based and Leo Frank was guilty as sin. Rest in peace, Mary Fagan. Shame on the ADL. Because that's what this points out. It points out how biased they are, how ridiculous they are.
Well, and they just bored. Like a lot of them are just so rich that they get bored and like, or either they just got you know, something stuck up their ass for black people. Like anytime that they feel they can, like, cause they get obviously they get some enjoyment from it, but they don't realize like you're hurting you're hurting yourself when you fuck with us, because I mean at the universe, like karma, like I don't care who you are, I don't care how much money you got, karma turns around and comes right back and bites you in the ass. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, like let's just say even if they were Jewish by blood and this, that, or whatever, by them having that kind of ill will on anybody, it's just gonna reverse itself. It's gonna like I said, karma's gonna come back and bite them, and they end up losing all the stuff that they claim to have worked so hard for, and they've like it's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't think anybody can really do wrong and benefit from it. I don't care. Like they can.
Well,
be
they keep
like
telling the history wrong. They're teaching it wrong. Like they're saying that this guy was innocent. Really, the black guy did it. And you know what's the craziest about that is like in that scenario in 1913, they wanted to kill the black guys. They wanted to blame them. So, but then the story just had to be too fucking fishy for them to even go for it. It was like, wait a minute. This time I don't think it was the black guy.
And that's the same kind of like with them, the way they're trying to treat, especially Kyrie, because like what I'm saying, like I don't appreciate what they're doing to Kanye either. But like I said, Kanye looking for the smoke. Because see, the whole thing is for them to like at some point they're gonna have to put all the guns on the table. They're gonna have to really explain themselves, because even Kanye said that it's like they're gonna have to explain to their to their children why they treating him their favorite rapper and their the guy that makes the best shoes they can get, like why y'all treating him like this. So it's like, but at the same time, like it's just like, bro, at some point you need to count your losses and just instead of trying to prove a point with what you consider to be power, is you're actually losing your power because of that same idea, that same movement, that same thing that you've been trying to get away with. Because guess what? It's too many of us that know the truth, and at some point, just like how I feel, it's gonna be more of me, people like us, shall I say, that's gonna actually speak it in public. Like people who actually get heard. Somebody's gonna be at some point be smart enough to say, that knows the history, that's just gonna say, y'all ain't even real Jews. You know what I'm saying? Like my ancestors allowed you to be a Jew.
Let me read some more comments. It says history is being rewritten in real time, and people are too afraid of being called names to even point it out.
And that's that's the sad part, because a lot of these people, and that's why that's why like the whole Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith and a bunch of like the nameless people who still got stuff to say, that knows the history, but just because they scared of they losing their job, and like bro, like y'all can take that shit over, like, and drop your nuts and stop being a sucker. You know what I'm saying? We run the damn thing anyway. Like without us, they have nothing. Like that's the part that like that bothers me. Like look, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because like, we hold a certain level of power, but if we gonna do this shit, we can do this shit together, or we ain't got to do it at all.
Let me read another comment. It says, the greatest waste of a kid's life is history taught in public schools. Another comment, it says, one of the most powerful videos on the ADL, period. Another comment, it says, I remember there was a made-for-TV movie about this. They had me convinced Frank was innocent. I felt sick to my stomach during the hanging scene. Pretty sure the ADL made that movie. So this is the point. Like, she did really good research, really graceful in this, to show what actually happened, you know, because they're saying that people were anti-Semitic, people were hating Jews, and that's the reason why this guy got killed.
But nobody's hating Jews. Nobody cares enough about Jews to be hating them or any of that. Like, you know, if that was the case, like, why would we entrust our whole culture to their, you know what I'm saying, or let them benefit? You know, I don't think it was just because we didn't have the money to do what we, was trying to do. Like, I don't think that's it. Like, I'm sure they had some part of it that, yeah, things can work faster and better and bigger if, we have the money that can push it, faster or whatever. But for the most part, black people don't have that kind of resentment in their heart. It's just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, or, like, we could have for a long time with, well, I'm just going to wait for somebody black that's got money and do my own thing. No, they're like, shit, okay, we can do this. All right, come on, let's do this. We're not looking at everybody because of their color, or what their skin color is, or what their religion is, whatever. Like, we just don't do that. Now, not in the majority. I'm not saying that there's none of us that does it, but I'm saying, like, for the majority, we don't do that. But they have the resentment because because I think that they wish that they had the skills that we had, the rap skills, the dance skills, all these different things. I really feel like it's more that than, like they feel like in competition with everything about us.
Let me read a couple more comments. It says, I like that St. Augustine quote. The truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose. It will defend itself. I like that too.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
Let me read another one. It says, they always tell you what happened to them, but never why. Russian proverb. Another comment, it says, hey, this must be anti-schematic. It's 100% true. There are valid reasons why a certain group has been thrown out of some 109 countries, territories, well over 200 times. Yes, some multiple times. It's not because they're respectful of others and acclimate well. Yep.
It's a case of, the person that got bullied becoming a bully. And it usually doesn't work out great for you. Like, for no bully. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not, that's just not a beneficial place to be. And like I said, I mean, you get away with it, you get away with it for a little while, you end up with a few victims that don't fight back. But when that motherfucker when you run across the one that is not gonna allow you to leave the premises without getting a piece of the action, then you see.
Let me read this one. It says, the real victim here, sadly, even before Mary, is the truth. Ever since her passing, these same people spend night and day silencing any who notice things. So he says the real victim is the truth.
I mean, that's one way to put it. You're right. I mean,
Because that's what's getting lost. That's what's getting damaged and broken, and twisted.
but every time, see, and that's the thing. People getting so weak and, you know, to the point to where like they can't just accept, okay, taking a loss or just, you know what I'm saying, letting somebody just go and just live. You know, all right, look, you know, at some point, like you gain more respect because you're able to just let that person live another day. They would extend their own life by not having to feel like they, you know, needing to jump into every little fight that comes about. Because regardless of the name that they got, it's dwindling away, and the children that's coming behind them that always felt like, you know, oh, this, you know, because you know they teach their kids that they're the chosen people on earth, and now their children have to be let down because their parents were so bigoted and, you know, trying to, you know, harm other people that shoot, their children ain't gonna get a chance to live the life that they did. But, you know, but I guess it really is not meant. People, with the numbers dwindling, they're gonna weaken, and there's gonna be people that's just not gonna accept the bullshit.
Let me read a little bit of this before we go. I'm definitely going to come back to this magazine tomorrow. This is talking about the Bermuda Triangle. It says, there are reasons why weather fair all well became famous last words for one crew and many others who followed in their path. So it says, it was sunny out as Lieutenant Charles Taylor led 5 TBM Avenger aircraft from Fort Lauderdale for a routine 2-hour exercise in December 1945, just 4 months after the end of World War II. Nearly 2 hours into the flight, the naval base received a call. Cannot see land. We seem to be off course. Contact with Flight 19 was then lost for about 10 minutes. Soon, the confused voices of the crew were heard saying, everything is wrong. We can't be sure of any direction. Everything looks strange, even the ocean. Then 20 minutes later, one of the pilots said, it looks like we are entering the white water. We're completely lost. A few minutes later, a 13-man crew aboard a PBM Mariner headed out in search of them. It too vanished. For 5 days, Coast Guards and Navy ships combed the waters of the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico, but no wreckage, bodies, or even oil slicks were found. Flight 19 is but one of the mysterious vanishings that took place in the vast expanse of the North Atlantic, reaching roughly from Miami to Bermuda and over to Puerto Rico. It has ominously been named the Devil's Triangle for a good reason. Tales of unexpected occurrences there go back centuries. When Christopher Columbus sailed through the area in 1492, he wrote in his log about his compass going haywire and the sea quickly changing from calm to treacherous. Within its 500,000 square mile area of water, reported vanishings started in the mid-19th century, with more than 20 aircrafts and 50 planes have vanished over the past 100 years. What do you think? Bermuda Triangle, missing ships and planes.
I mean, it's always been like a, you know, like, it's just one of those things that you always kind of wonder about because, you know, like I've heard different stories over the years about, you know, going through that area, whether it's by boat or by plane, and that, you know, some people have even said like claim that they came back from it, to where it's like it takes you into a whole nother dimension. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those crossroads of the of Earth, because
Like
I
a
don't know. Have
portal.
you? Yeah, it's like a portal. Yeah, exactly. Where it can take you into a whole nother dimension, and then you know, very seldom do people come back through. But is it, maybe it's just that wonderful that nobody wants to come back, or and I don't know. I mean,
Or
but
just the
it's
opposite, and they just get obliterated when they go to the other side.
well, I mean, I don't know. Like, it, maybe there's different experiences once you get there, But either way, it's always been a fascinating thing to talk about, because, like, it's just a mystery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I like the idea of portals. And when they talk about the compass going crazy, that sounds like the magnetic energies, you know,
Hmm.
um, and time getting lost. That's another part of it. So it's like,
Where you
I
get
don't
caught
know.
up in the middle, like you get caught up in, because I mean, time doesn't really exist,
Yeah. So, but your
and
ability to measure the time, or your ability to even see where you are as far as with your instruments, longitude and latitude coordinates and all of that just go crazy, because maybe you're not there no more.
what? What? Now you just said some shit right there, boy.
You
You
know, I've
you
thought
you
about it.
you don't even exist
You
in
know,
this.
because outside of time and space, you move to another place. Like, we talk about size. I saw this video where it kept getting smaller and smaller, and it was explaining. I could probably find that video, but how different
Have
things are. It's like those creatures that are really, really small. It's like they're in a whole nother dimension. Like they swim through the air and shit. Like they're like, and if we
hmm
saw them, they would look like aliens. They would look like, something we freaking didn't know exist. Like it would totally look like some
like
shit from another planet.
if we was converted to its size, or it was converted to our size.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you.
It would be like
Now,
alien. It would be like something from another dimension. And the way it moves is like it moves like it would be something in a whole nother dimension. So what I said that to say this is that I feel like you have all of these different, they're all happening at the same space, in the same space. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? Not necessarily the same time, because like even they explained in that video how like time is different for those really small creatures, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, because I mean, they talk about that, even especially like with the housefly, because it's like they're like flying within a different dimension, because like you just think about you swatting at them, like they done left and went and came back and whatever, like within like our perception of our sight of seeing them and swinging at them. Like if you really kill them, like you exceeded their, like you sped up your life to be able to get into their time zone or whatever. Like it was weird how it was explained, but it's like because it's so fast, or like the way, what I'm saying, just the way it operates, or the like the window of time that it actually is in. If you actually are able to kill it, you have kind of sped up into their time to be able to reach them. I don't know. It's hard to really explain, but I did before it made me think about this when the whole Bermuda Triangle thing is that they said that like there's a portal within the Grand Canyon where you go into some cave or something in the Grand Canyon and you end up in Egypt on the other side of the world in Africa.
Mm.
You ever heard that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how, like, when they talk about the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dimensions, and it's like
Yeah.
our limited perception. And I was using the size as just an example to get the idea out of having, multiple dimensions in the same place. So probably anywhere you are, you'd be able to, if somehow you was able to move from one dimension to the other one, it probably would be like you would disappear. You wouldn't be there anymore because you would be in the other dimension.
Yeah. But I think and like I said, I don't have it all figured out. I'm still a student. So but I do kind of flirt with the idea that most of our travel into other dimensions is not physical. Like our body doesn't have to go in order for us to have gone
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
sometimes it might seem like a glimpse of a thought, but through the mind, because our mind is connected to the entire universe, and to actually be somewhere else or see something else didn't this what I'm saying, it can happen in the middle of driving down the road or while you sleep in the shop, what I'm saying, like
Yeah. So, but
there's
what about
so
some of
many.
these like missing persons or people that literally freaking disappear? You think it's a chance that people could like be moving into another dimension? Like the Buddha supposedly, meditated until he just moved into the next dimension. Like moved
Well,
into nirvana, moved into heaven, just turned into energy without actually physically dying. Maybe he didn't turn into energy, maybe he just went to another dimension.
um I mean, I won't say that that's impossible, but like I would say, you said people coming up missing. I mean, yeah, that's human trafficking, but like however
Yeah, most of it
I
is
think
definitely, but maybe there's some
yeah.
cases. Maybe there's some cases where some people just literally, vanish.
Yeah, I would say that there is
They found Amelia Earhart though. They talked about this in her in this
well,
too.
yeah, I
But
think
they
that
found
was
her.
she came back through the portal through the triangle.
They found her. What could be her? It was on a desert island. They found some bones and shit, and it was like the clothing that she would have had on.
Because see, that's the Bermuda Triangle. That's like in the middle of the Gulf and the Atlantic Ocean, right?
It's
Isn't it?
it's yeah, technically, pretty much, yeah, that's right.
What if
South of
there's
Florida.
something? What if there's another portal? Because I mean, like, look, there's just like a video game. Because like we talk about the whole. Because this is like a Matrix thing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like a Matrix conversation. Because if you really think about like how we if we're in a simulation and there's different levels on the game, and there's a cheat code that can take you from one place to another without having to go through all the other hurdles that you might have to go through to get there. So I mean, if you learn, what I'm saying, and maybe you don't learn it, maybe you just by happenstance, or you want to call it luck, or by chance you stumble into it, because it doesn't necessarily have to be in the middle of the ocean, doesn't necessarily have to be you know, on some desert highway. Like maybe it's in your backyard. Maybe that you know what I'm saying, maybe it moves and you know based on the different you know what I'm saying. Like I think there's endless options when it comes to that. Like it can you know it can happen. Like you said, like kids come up missing. They was playing in the backyard and all of a sudden they're just gone. Nobody, you know what I'm saying. Maybe they walk through a portal that
That's what I'm saying.
maybe an alien, you know, I don't know.
Abducted them, right? Maybe the
Yeah,
alien abductions aren't really alien abductions, but people moving through portals.
maybe.
It's just a thought.
Yeah,
I'm tired
that's
as
it's a
hell.
hit. That's a heavy one. That'll have us up for
Yeah.
hours. But yeah, man. Hopefully
Yeah.
I'm moving tomorrow. Trying to get to the house this weekend.
Oh yeah, that's good, man. Shit, get you some rest,
For sure, man.
some actual rest. Yeah, I want to cover
I,
more on
I, I
this.
might I might stop through that way. I don't know cause well it's gonna probably be like Monday or Tuesday when I'm coming through to Louisiana. I'm going to my mom's or whatever, so I might have a minute to stop through and chill, you know,
Well, shit, just hit me.
for a few minutes. Oh yeah. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I
I'll give
want to
you a
cover
heads up.
this supernatural stuff a little bit more, and it's a couple other ones because I wanted to talk about. Uh, I'm still talking about the Jewish people, freaking.
Well, and because I know some videos that I saw that you sent that I thought we might have gone into as well, but
The one
I
about
think we
it was about Jewish people, something about Jewish people,
well
right?
well
What did I say?
yeah well the whole thing about Israel and
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about because I do want to talk about that. So I'm gonna cover that tomorrow. Yeah, Israel and how it has to do with the United States. That's what it was. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because
and you
Israel is really a little baby United States, and they're doing the
that's what
exact same
Ukraine is
thing.
becoming. That's what Ukraine is gonna become if you know once this
Oh,
is.
did you see the clip? Let me see. I think I have that. Let me play that right quick before we go. The clip, like the news showed, because Ukraine got Kherson. They expelled the Russians. It was a big win for them. And the news is covering this because they're like, "Oh, Ukraine, big win," and it was a guy doing a Nazi salute. And I wondered why the hell did they? That's what everybody was saying. Why did they use that clip? Oh yeah, I got it. I got it. Here, let me share this. They were like, out of everything, why did they share that? Let me play this. It's really short. It's just here it is right here. Am I sharing this?
Earlier this week, residents there have been celebrating their long-awaited freedom, many taking to the streets, waving flags
See?
and cheering for the soldiers.
The guy did a Nazi salute there. Let me play it one more time.
Earlier this week,
You know
residents
these are the same people.
celebrating their long-awaited freedom, many taking to the streets, waving flags and cheering for the soldiers.
So he's holding the Ukraine flag, and then he put up the Nazi salute. This is after
Bro,
their win.
I know, but listen, because see, this is one of the things like when you're not really paying attention to history, and see, they just being bold with it now. But ever since, like, all right, after 1948, the you know the so-called Jews get carried into into Palestine, and they got a little place where they're living. All this stuff. This is stuff that's being done mostly by the U.S. and with the help of the crown. Um, so and this is because Ukraine is Khazaria. That ain't Ukraine is ancient Khazaria, the Khazars, and these are the Ashka what?
Ashkenazi. Let me read this. It
These are
says CNN.
Nazis. These are the real Nazis, bro.
Let me read this. It says CNN and Sky News journalists losing accreditation over reporting from Kherson sparks controversy. It says CNN showed a Ukrainian giving a Nazi salute to the cameras, and Zelensky banned their journalists the very next day. Biden's never-ending unconditional weapon shipments continue, but with no press reporting now, we'll know even less about who's using them and how. So this was CNN and Sky News, and they're getting in trouble. And Zelensky, he says Zelensky banned their journalists, so they didn't want these pictures to get out. This picture that
earlier this week, residents there have been celebrating their long-awaited freedom. Many taking to the streets, waving flags and cheering for the soldiers. Troops.
That was a clear Nazi salute he did.
Look, stuff that people have been saying from the beginning. Yes, but see, that's the whole thing. Like the people that they're saying that got, was getting killed off or whatever. No, these are the people that was trying to do the killing. That these are people that survived. That's portraying to be something that they're not all this time. Like these same Jews, these Khazars. That like Ukraine is where that is the same. Is that same place? A lot of people don't really realize it. They don't know the geography that well, but like this is something I've been looking at for a while. Like I've been studying it. So it's like these very same people that's trying to take over the world. They got Israel. They're doing Ukraine. Like all these people, they say like even whatchamacallit didn't die during that whole ordeal. Hitler didn't die. Like this was a continuation. Most of the people that was in the research center came to the U.S. and been running shit here in our government and in NASA and all the other stuff that's been going on since then.
But that wouldn't make sense if Israel and these people don't like Jewish people. Like they got swastika tattoos and shit. Like they probably would kill. They've been killing people. That's what they do over there. That the ones that they don't like, they really on that like eugenics type stuff, German type shit, where the superior race shit.
How many times I gotta remind people like these? Like they don't mind lying, they don't mind cheating, they don't mind like they're like overall like if they able to have the ultimate domination that they want. Like lying, cheating, and stealing ain't no problem along the way. And like I said, most of these people that's calling themselves Jews are really atheists. Like they don't believe in God.
Yeah, but if they identify themselves as Jews, and then you got this guy wearing a swastika, he's gonna kill him.
No,
so maybe
they
he
all
confused.
know, but they know
whose
they
side
know
is on whose
they
side.
know. They know who is who. They got their secret fraternities, they secret societies. They know who is who. We just don't.
I can't get with that because the regular average folks that's running around in Ukraine, the regular folks, they're gonna be ignorant as hell, just like an average American. They're not gonna know.
Why say, bro, just because we live clueless don't mean that everybody else is. These people have an agenda. These people getting placed in something. Like, does every single person know every little thing? Maybe not, but for the most part they do. Like most of these people are not clueless of what's really happening. Like they know that they're getting set up and protected by the world. They feel like they support, like some of them have taken like the belief, like after they've lied to themselves for so long, they believe that they are the the people, the chosen people of God. Some of them have, that they have enough like that, like their mental health is broken down so badly, like they believe their own lies, and then they just, you know, like we've been telling people, like I've been saying this for months when the war began. It's like these are Nazis over there that our U.S. is protecting and trying to, like, you think Biden don't know who those people are?
And sending them money. Yeah, Biden knows. They know. I don't know if all of the government, like all the senators and stuff, because they get lied to too.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt that, but I think enough of them know. Like they've been in there long enough, and they just like some of them like they don't care. Look, all right, you got your shit going on over there. Look, I'm just trying to have a little steak, you know, have a little piece over here. You know,
Rhonda's got 2
they shut the hell up because they want you to shut up about what they doing. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so it's clearly Nazis in Ukraine. It's clearly a Nazi regime. You know,
but that's always been one of the weird things. Like, why did they put Nazi in their name if they hate Nazi so much? Like Ashkenazi.
They didn't choose that name. That it's like
yes, they did.
It's multiple. It's
all right.
You got the Bible. They didn't write that. Like that's where that
Ashkenazi is not in the Bible. That's something that they created themselves.
Check this out right here. This is these people these are Trump supporters that ain't feeling DeSantis, because it's gonna be for the next 2 years it's gonna be a Trump versus DeSantis.
He's out. He has plenty of time to gain wisdom. Trump or death. Let him stay in Florida for a while.
Remember when they did the Saddam Hussein statue came down? Remember when the Saddam statue came down? Hey, my father used to say to me, he used to say, son, I brought you into this world, I can take you out.
Everything
We're
taking him out. Everything he's got, he goes to Trump.
It's Trump or death.
But I want to give a message. I want to send a message. You think Nancy Pelosi might watch this? Well, Nancy, your reign of terror is almost over, and I hope you realize there's no ice cream in hell. And your husband's a cruiser. He cruises for rough trade on Castro
This
Street.
is Ed, the Santa Claus.
Put him on a short leash.
Yeah, so these guys are dancing on Ron DeSantis.
Say, bro. I mean, I've already like I hate that sometimes I really hate that I can see shit as early as I do, and you know, like I turn back around and be like, look, I know I sounded crazy as hell when I said this before, but this is, you know what I'm saying, like, but it's true, it came out to be true. But no, like these people are already playing themselves, and it's just gonna show more how deplorable they are as well. Like, I mean, unless they change their tune soon, like they can actually, like, I mean, because the main thing is that, like, on the political side, I really feel like, you know, like there needs to be more balance, but some of these people just need to go. And I think the people who are so deep into this agenda that's been here 30, 40 years, 50 years, like they're ruining everything for everybody. But this whole thing with Trump, like if they're not really smart and calculated, they want to go on camera doing shit like this, trying to talk shit about DeSantis. Like, I mean, they're just really showing how stupid they are. I'm just saying, like, I mean, that's really what's happening. I mean, you know, I mean, it's not like, you know, we haven't, because I mean, we talking about the average voter. Like, the average voter on either side really is clueless. Like, they they don't have enough time to really do research to really be really to know what they're actually voting for or even voting against.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I completely agree with that. Yeah. Well, anyways, man, the damn officers molesting the damn kids. I ain't gonna cover this though. They're like sticking their hands. That shit was happening. That shit happened to me. I ain't gonna lie. Fucking the cops, you know how they pull you over and they act like they searching for something, but they just grabbing your ass and nuts and shit. I don't know if that ever happened to you, but that happened to me here in Houston. When I was young, I was like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, I've avoided them very much so throughout most of my life. You know, regardless of what kind of life I was living at the time, I've been blessed to be able to avoid situations like that. And
I'm gonna go ahead and play it since it's the end of the video. This is really short, but it's gross.
Illegal strip searches, including cavity searches on the streets, where they're wearing.
Pull down my pants, touch my testicles. They like ease down and they put their hands right between my butt. Just pulled my drawers down and dug in my rectum.
The alleged victims keep coming forward. 8 Milwaukee police officers are under internal investigation, accused of performing illegal strip searches, including cavity searches on the streets. Were they wearing any gloves?
No, I didn't see not one. There was no gloves.
Kevin Freeman Jr. claims back in December he and some friends were violated during a traffic stop.
When they searched me, they like ease down and they put their hands right between my butt. And I try to reach back and when I try to reach back and try to stop them, they just got to slam me. He pulled down my pants, touched my testicles. They like ease down and they put their hands right between my butt. Just pulled my drawers down and dug in my rectum.
The alleged victims keep coming forward.
Trying to pause that shit.
oh, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, bro. I feel sorry for these kids. Yeah, you know, like I'm wondering what kind of life they live in for them to get, you know, to be in position to get violated like this. But it's still like, regardless, I mean, it's messed up. Like, bro, you digging in their ass while just right there on the block, and then I mean, not just that. I mean, like that's not gross. Even if they had gloves, that's still like too far. But then they just doing it just bare, like
it's
these
gross.
some freaks. That's some freaky shit, bro.
That's fucking nasty. But like I say, that similar thing happened to me. I ain't gonna lie, so I know it's true, and it's been happening forever. Like these dudes, they get off on that shit. They enjoy it. They fucking, you know, they like it.
Because I can't imagine. Like I know I'm gonna sound like the slave on the plantation. You know, like if I was if I was a slave, I would have did this. You know, bro.
You're not gonna do nothing but get slammed or fucking arrested. You're gonna get assaulting a police officer charge.
Yeah, or killing one.
So that's fucking scary as hell. And that's just like you getting violated, you getting raped, basically, you getting freaking taken advantage of, you're getting used, you're getting sexually abused. And you it's from an authority, it's from a, you know, somebody representing a state or whatever, city or county or I ain't gonna lie, I told myself I wasn't gonna cover this shit.
Yeah, bro. This is, I don't know, that really fucked me up.
It's fucking gross, man. Yep, this is another picture. This dude is holding the Nazi flag and putting up
That's a kid, isn't it?
I don't know how old he is, but you know how they do soldiers. They probably are. He probably is pretty young. So, but this is Ukraine again.
With the Nazi flag. Oh yeah, nah, he kind of grown. He's just a little dude.
It says, LOL, this guy going around giving speeches at American schools to Zoomers about Ukraine for the Biden administration.
And anyway. Biden know exactly. Say, bro. All right, I'm done. Like people just need to really pay attention. Like, I don't know how many people listen or who will actually get a chance to hear some of this stuff, but y'all really need to look into this stuff, man. It's not a lot of stuff that you're seeing is not just happenstance. Y'all thinking that, oh, this just so happened. No, these people playing. These people playing. Just they believe in if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Which some of us need to realize.
My computer's been saying 1:02 a.m. and I was like, damn, the time not moving. I got 3 a.m. on my phone. I gotta go to sleep because I got class in the morning.
Do you think, brother? We'll chat tomorrow.
All right, man. I'm gonna send you some texts. I'll definitely be on the show. I definitely do the show. I have to do it. But I'll have time. Maybe I'll come on early. Wait, no. I work tomorrow night, so it depends on what time I get up. All right. Peace and love, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for joining.
Peace and love.
We'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel.